Chapter 1437. Qin Chu's father couldn't leave the hospital. His physical condition didn't allow him to, but when he heard that his son and daughter-in-law were going to hold a wedding, he couldn't stay calm anymore. He immediately arranged for him to go home for a couple of days. At the very least, he had to visit his in-laws before going back to the hospital. The attending doctor, Dr. Liu, personally called Huamin and agreed to let him come back. Huamin was worried about his father-in-law's condition, so he contacted the Qin family's private doctor, Dr. Tian, to take care of his father-in-law. He was afraid that there would be an emergency. Ever since Huamin and Qin Chu got together for more than a year, the two families hadn't officially met. Because of what happened in the past, there was a barrier between them. Also, Lady Qin used to be very arrogant and bullied Huamin's mother many times, so there was a grudge between them. But now that the two children were married, their relationship with their parents-in-law had eased a lot. Therefore, everyone decided not to talk about the past and to have a proper meal together. When Huamin drove to the Qin family's house, Qin Chu wasn't home yet. The housekeepers were busy in the kitchen. They seemed to have bought a lot of ingredients and were preparing. Today Yang Mirong wore a peacock blue coat and a silk scarf that Huamin bought for her. Her hair was tied up and she wore light makeup. She looked very dignified. Lady Qin also wore a red velvet retro cheongsam and a white pearl necklace around her neck. Qin Yuman wore a gray Chinese tunic suit. Because he couldn't move, he had to rely on crutches. Lady Qin carefully helped him down the stairs. "Dad, Mom." Huamin greeted them with a smile. The Qin family couple was very embarrassed and nodded at Yang Mirong. "In-law, you're here," Lady Qin spoke first. Yang Mirong also felt a little awkward and nodded. "Sit down, Huan, make some tea," Lady Qin called the housekeeper. Then the four of them sat down on the sofa in the living room. "In-law, are you feeling well?" "I'm in good health. I heard that big brother Qin is sick." "How is he?" Yang Mirong asked. "She's doing okay. She's been hospitalized for treatment." "Mian, you've been running around all this time. You're such a good child." Qin Yuman kept praising Huamin. "Dad, this is what I should do." Yang Mirong held Huamin's hand and said, "My daughter is actually a little clumsy and doesn't know how to say nice things. However, she's very honest and knows how to use her actions to prove her sincerity. I should have visited you guys a long time ago. You guys are older than me and you're my brother and sister-in-law. It's all in the past." At this point Yang Mirong paused. "In-law, we were foolish in the past. Please forgive us. What happened can't be undone. In the future we will definitely treat Huamin like our own daughter. Don't worry." Lady Qin spoke very sincerely and she also felt very guilty. In the past she always felt that she was in the right and that she did it for the sake of her son. Now she felt that her selfishness back then had caused an unhappy family and a lack of warmth. This made her feel very uneasy. "Yeah, I'm not a narrow-minded person. Since we're all in-laws, we're family. Let's not talk about the past. Just like you said, it's all in the past. From now on we'll be fine and harmonious. Let's not worry about our children." Huamin thought that it would be a little awkward. However, he didn't expect them to open up as soon as they met, so it seemed very natural. Yang Mirong chatted happily with the Qin clan couple. 11:45 p.m. Qin Chu's car drove in from outside. "Young master is back." The housekeeper reminded them and they all stood up. Chapter 1438. Qin Chu opened the door and walked in. "Mom, you're here." Yang Mirong nodded with a smile. "Chu's back, let's eat." "Let's go, in-law." Lady Qin intimately pulled Yang Mirong to the dining room. The five of them sat down one after another. There were 18 dishes on the table, all of them dazzling and alluring. "Oh, there's so much good food." Huamin licked his lips. "Mian, eat more. You've been too tired lately and need to nourish yourself," Lady Qin said. "I know, Mom. Come on, let's eat. You eat more too, in-law. Don't be shy." "Okay." During the meal, Lady Qin saw that the atmosphere was good, so she took the initiative to say, "In-law, the two kids are going to have a make-up wedding. Before that, let's talk about the betrothal gifts." "Betrothal gifts? No, the make-up wedding is just a formality. What's more, ever since we got married, Qin Chu hasn't mistreated me. He's given me a car and a house and he even bought me such an expensive house. I'm already very satisfied. In-law, you don't have to be so polite." Yang Mirong wasn't a greedy person when it came to money. She always thought that having enough money to spend was enough, and she wouldn't make things difficult for Huamin. Although her family wasn't rich, she couldn't do anything that would make the Qin family look down on her. This was called dignity. In law, this is a northern custom. We can't avoid it. Let's just follow the rules left behind by our ancestors. Oh, it's really not necessary. Sis-in-law, don't be so polite. Yang Merong insisted on not accepting the betrothal gifts. Qin Yumin slowly said, In-law, don't think too much. We still have to give you the betrothal gifts. It wasn't easy for you to raise 2 kids all these years, and the Qin family is very grateful that you raised Huamin. We're proud to have a daughter-in-law like you. We still need the betrothal gifts, don't refuse. Just as Yang Meirong was about to say something, Qin Chu interrupted, Mom, don't be so polite. If they want to give it to you, just take it. They're rich. Huamin couldn't help but laugh. He immediately nudged Qin Chu. Lady Qin glared at her son. You rascal, you're already trying to curry favor with your mother-in-law. Traitor. After he said that, everyone laughed. At this time, Lady Qin took out an exquisite box from her bag. Then she handed it to Huamin. Grandma Qin Chu left this for me. It's a bracelet made of top-quality jade. I'm giving it to you now. I hope you can pass it on to your descendants. Thank you, Mom. Huamin smiled warmly and carefully took the bracelet. Qin Chu smiled. Mom, why don't you just say that you want Mian to have a son and pass it on to your daughter-in-law? Go away, what are you talking about? I like boys and girls. If it's a girl, I'll give it to my granddaughter, Lady Qin laughed. Just then, Qin Yumin put down the wine glass in his hand and slowly said, In-law, if you're too embarrassed to say it, then I'll tell you about the betrothal gifts we discussed. It's part of the process. Okay, I'll leave it to you, brother. Yang Meirong couldn't bring herself to ask for a betrothal gift. So if Mr. and Mrs. Qin took the initiative, it was exactly what she wanted. Dad, forget about the betrothal gift, we've been married for more than a year. It's just a make-up ceremony. There's no need to be so formal, Huamin tried to persuade his father-in-law. Chapter 1439. How can we do that? We can't be careless. Marriage is a big deal, we still have to go through the necessary procedures. Listen to Dad, be a good boy. Qin Chu reached out his hand and placed it on Huamin's little hand. Qin Yumin then looked around solemnly and slowly said, My wife and I discussed it. As for the monetary gift, we've decided to give Huamin 3 houses. There's a mansion in Hawaii, a villa in Suzhou, and a seaside house in the city. They're all renovated. 3, that's too much. Huamin was a little embarrassed. His in-laws were indeed rich. They gave him 3 mansions in 3 different locations. Then Qin Yumin said, We've already found a lawyer and are handling the transfer of ownership and justice. They're all for Mian. Dad, you're so biased. I don't have any. Qin Chu chuckled. Don't you have another wife? After Qin Yumin said this, everyone laughed. Then Qin Yumin continued, We're also planning to change Mian's car. Dad, this car is pretty good, I like it, Huamin quickly said. We know you like Audi, so we bought you an Audi S8. It's silver gray, it suits your low-key style. Huamin, Lady Qin added, we also bought you an Audi A8L and AQ7. You don't have to feel much, you can switch between them. Huamin, 3, Qin Yumin, let's not talk about jewelry. Our company has a lot of jewelry, you can choose whatever you want. Also, we kept a set of rubies and diamonds for our in-laws. Yang Meong, Lady Qin, Mian, don't be fooled by the bracelet your grandma left behind. It's a little old-fashioned, but it's priceless. An American couple once offered me 120 million yuan, but I didn't sell it. Huamin, Qin Yumin, they already have a house and a car. As for the money, we won't give them too much. These 2 don't lack money, so we've prepared a cash gift of 8 million yuan. We'll transfer it directly to Huamin's card. Huamin, Lady Qin, it's not a lot, but we'll treat Mian well as usual. Yang Meong, in-law, that's enough. Then as today is the day before the wedding, our 2 families will definitely have a meal together. After that, Qin Yumin took out 2 golden bank cards and handed them to Huamin. This one is for you. There's 999,000 in it. I hope you and Chu will be together forever. Thank you, Dad. Huamin took the gold card and was still very excited. Qin Yumin took out another one and handed it to Yang Mirong. Just take this. It's our gift to the in-laws. It's 666,000 yuan. I hope everything goes well for you in the future. No, I can't accept this. Yang Meirong refused. However, Qin Chu helped her put it away. Mom, take it. It's a little gift from my parents. The password for the gold card is 6 zeros. You can change it later, Lady Qin added. After the meal, Huamin didn't know if he was full or not, but he knew that he was rich. 3 mansions, 3 luxury cars, 8 million yuan, and a set of ancestral bracelets worth 120 million yuan. Huamin wanted to shout to the whole world that he was rich now. After the meal, Yang Meirong was sent back to Sky Blessing Court by the Qin family's chauffeur. Huamin and Qin Chu stayed behind to drink tea with the Qin family's parents and talk about the wedding details. It was obvious that Qin Yuman was very happy. He was like a child, constantly coming up with ideas and innovations. It wasn't until 10 o'clock that Huamin and Qin Chu finally drove home to South Hill Manor. On the way, Huamin hesitated for a moment and said, "Honey, do you know about Dad's condition? Isn't it high blood pressure?" Qin Chu had been very busy recently. He only knew that his father was hospitalized due to overwork, but he didn't know the details. "Honey, not only is Dad's blood pressure high, but we also found a black shadow in the center of his brain during the CT scan." After saying this, Qin Chu slammed on the brakes and the car screeched to a stop on the side of the road. Chapter 1440. Black shadow in the brain? Qin Chu frowned slightly. Huamin nodded, took out his phone and opened a CT scan he took. Qin Chu looked at it and didn't say anything. He had a background in neurosurgery, so he knew very well what kind of situation this was. A black shadow in the brain was usually a bad thing. "Honey, don't think too much. Maybe it's just a small blood clot." Huamin comforted him softly. "If it's a blood clot, it should be able to absorb slowly. But it's been so long and it's not moving at all. Must be a tumor. Maybe it's benign. Brain surgery isn't a big problem now. Didn't you succeed with Xixin's surgery?" "Honey, you don't have to comfort me. I'm a neurosurgeon too and I know the result too well. How can a tumor in the brain be benign?" Qin Chu never thought that his father would have such an unacceptable disease. "What should we do now? Should we convince Dad to go to the States for surgery?" Huamin asked. "It's useless to go to the States. The amount of money spent on cancer research in the States every year is mind-boggling. But after all these years, cancer is still a disease that the world can't do anything about. They also need surgery and we don't know what will happen next. If it's really a malignant tumor, how long does Dad have left?" Huamin asked carefully. "A few months at least, a year at most." Qin Chu's tone was heavy and his eyes were filled with unspeakable sorrow. "So soon?" Huamin had never been so close to a patient with a brain tumor, so he didn't know much about it. "Then, what should we do now?" Huamin panicked and didn't know what to do. "Send Dad back to the hospital tomorrow for conservative treatment. First, don't stimulate the nerves in his brain so it won't spread." "Okay then, should we postpone our wedding? It won't be too late to do it after Dad gets better," Huamin suggested. "Dad, he won't be in a better state in the future. We have to hold the wedding. Otherwise, he might not even have the chance to see it." Qin Chu sounded very sad. He wasn't being an alarmist. He had been at Harvard Medical School for many years and he knew the trend of this disease too well. His father's condition was not bad now. Once his illness acted up, he might not wake up until the wedding. How could she witness his and Huamin's happiness then? "All right, I'll listen to you." Huamin nodded. Neither of them slept well that night. The next morning, Qin Chu drove to GK headquarters. Huamin, on the other hand, invited Zhu Lingling and Jiang Shaowei to go shopping to buy the things they needed for their wedding. The media continued to spread the news about Qin Chu and Huamian's wedding on the 28th. A lot of people were paying attention to this wedding. They wanted to see how grand GK's president's wedding would be. Song family Villa Song Isha rarely left the house these days. She basically stayed at home and didn't go out. Mrs. Song was worried about her daughter's condition and kept comforting her. Sure, are you in a bad mood?" Song Isha didn't answer. "Is it because of Qin Chu's wedding?" "No. You're still denying it, you're so stubborn." Mrs. Song thought that Song Isha was depressed because of Qin Chu and Huamin's wedding. "Mom, they won't be able to get married," Song Isha said word for word. Sure, are you going to do something again?" "Please don't. If you really piss off Qin Chu, he won't let you go." Mrs. Song was afraid that her daughter would cause trouble again, so she immediately tried to stop her. Chapter 1441. It's not that I want to do anything, don't worry. I don't need to do anything. Someone won't be able to sit still. Song Yisher smiled strangely. Huamin was going to hold a wedding, so Huasiqian wouldn't be happy about it, would he? It would definitely be very lively. The truth was she was looking forward to Huasiqian making a move. If he could really break up Qinchu and Huamin, then she would be able to sit back and enjoy the benefits. Huo Corporation headquarters. Huasiqian held a small dart and threw it at the target. One dart at a time, hitting the target every time. The 28th was a good day and there were less than 2 weeks left. His Mian couldn't wait to announce her relationship with Qinchu. He couldn't wait to confess his feelings for Huamin. Just thinking about it made him excited. President Hua, the people you wanted to see are here. Good, you can go now. Huasiqian put down the dart in his hand, picked up a white handkerchief and wiped his hands. Then he licked his lips and went to his office. He really had to hurry up. He had to hurry up and give his little sister a huge surprise. GK headquarters. Qinchu finished his work and was about to leave when the door to his office opened and a young woman walked in. She was about 1.7 meters tall with a tall and slender figure and a perfect body shape. Most importantly, she had a face. She had a beautiful face with big eyes and long eyelashes. Her mouth and nose were perfect. She was the kind of beauty that could topple cities. She was as beautiful as Imo Shuier and Jian Tong. President Qin, you are? Qinchu frowned slightly. The woman froze slightly as if she didn't expect President Qin to not know who she was. President Qin. Qinyu. Qinchu didn't say anything. He didn't seem to remember this name. Seeing Qinchu's silence, the woman introduced herself. President Qin, I'm the champion of the Star of GK. Is something the matter? I actually wanted to come over and talk to President Qin about the details of the contract I signed. You can talk to the person in charge of GK Entertainment. Qinchu's attitude was cold. Then he turned around and left. Qin Yuyao, who was dressed in formal attire, was left holding a folder. She was at a loss for what to do. Back then he had chosen to participate in the competition partly because he was confident in himself and partly because he had connections. Whether it was online voting or mobile voting, she was leading by a wide margin. From beginning to end she had never seen Qinchu even once. However, she was no stranger to Qinchu. When she was on a plane, she accidentally saw Qinchu in a financial magazine for the first time. She could feel her face turning red and her heart racing. She even felt that this was the man she was looking for. Qin Yuyao did not come from a wealthy family, but she was still from a scholarly family. From her grandfather to her parents and aunts, they were all researchers. His grandfather was the head of a well-known scientific research institute. They could be considered a high-ranking official's family, comparable to Gao Ran's family background. Her family was against her entering the entertainment industry, but she still did it without hesitation. She didn't want to be famous or rich. She just wanted to be closer to Qinchu. However, during the finals of the championship competition, Huamin was the only one who presented her with the trophy. From beginning to end she had never seen Qinchu in person. Therefore she boldly came to the president's office today with the contract. She wanted to get closer to him. Unexpectedly she was doused with cold water. Question, why are you here? Yang saw Qin Yuyao when he came in to deliver a document to the president. President Qin. Does he always treat people like this? Qin Yuyao felt wronged. Like what? Bing Bing is so cold. Oh. Basically that's our president's personality except for one person. Who? Qin Yuyao was curious. Chapter 1442. A young lady. President Qin is only nice to a young lady. He only smiles at a young lady and is gentle to a young lady. He coaxes her, tells her jokes and feeds her food. Assistant Yang became more and more envious as he spoke. A young lady isn't that pretty either? She thought back to the woman in a black suit who presented her with the award at the Night of Champions. Qin Yuyao snorted. Assistant Yang was immediately displeased. What a joke. Is it up to us to decide if a young lady is pretty or not? As long as President Qin likes her. Plus, I don't think it's important if a woman is pretty or not. What's important is her temperament and upbringing. A young lady's temperament and upbringing are beyond the reach of most women. No woman can win a man's respect with her looks alone. I think it's more important to be good both inside and outside. Otherwise, she's just a pretty face. Yang purposely emphasized the word face. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left. Qin Yuyao was so angry that her face turned pale. He's just a stinky assistant. Why is he so cocky? Geez. Qin Yuyao, who considered herself the most beautiful woman in Sea City, had never seen Qin Chu fail. However, she wasn't discouraged. She believed that as long as she could stay at GK, she would eventually get close to Qin Chu. There was no rush. After all, she was still young. She was only 22 years old, 3 years younger than Hua Min. Inside the Hua Corporation's conference room, the dozen or so tycoons all looked troubled and didn't say anything. Everyone, what do you think of my idea? President Hua, this is very risky. It's like sacrificing 8,000 of your own to hurt 10,000 of your enemies. Even if you achieve your goal in the end, the losses outweigh the gains. Who said it's not worth the losses? You've injured 10,000 of your enemies and lost 8,000 of your own. In the end, don't you still have 2,000 more chips than your enemies? Hua Xiqian laughed. Nonsense. Hua Xiqian, your idea is too crazy. If you want to play, you can play by yourself. We won't play with you. What you're doing is against the rules. You'll be despised in the industry. Plus, the consequences of doing this are immeasurable. What if we can't control the situation in the end? Are we going to die together? How could that be? We will definitely be the winners in this batch. Let's see if you dare to do it. I agree with President Zhang. Xiqian, you're still too young and impulsive. You can't do this. You shouldn't do this. When we were old, we followed the rules. If we break the rules, we'll suffer the consequences. You guys, the older you get, the more cowardly you become. Hua Xiqian picked up a piece of gum and placed it in his mouth, chewing casually. He didn't seem to care about these big shots at all. If you think we're too old, why did you ask us to come here? Go ahead and play by yourself. Then a man in his 50s wearing a gray suit stood up angrily. Before he could walk to the door, he heard Hua Xiqian blow bubbles and say, Uncle Zhang, if your wife finds out that you have a 12-year-old illegitimate son, will she fight with you? From what I know, your wife owns 15% of your company's shares. Plus, she owns more than you. If you divorce and split up, you'll lose half of your assets and your reputation. What nonsense are you talking about? What illegitimate son? The man pointed at Hua Xiqian and yelled. Chapter 1443. Hua Xiqian chuckled. But then again, your youngest son looks a lot like you. You probably don't want to send him overseas to study, right? 6th Elementary School has a pretty good environment. Every day he arrives at the back gate of the school at 7:10 p.m. in the nanny van and arrives at the back gate at 3:15 p.m. sharp. Then he goes to a taekwondo dojo called Soaring Ambition to learn taekwondo. At 4:30 p.m. he goes to the Tan family's private restaurant for dinner. You investigated my son? No, I'm not investigating him. I'm just reminding you that life is full of accidents. I really don't want you to lose your son when you're old. Hua Xiqian, you motherfucker. The old man was so angry that he pounced on Hua Xiqian. Hua Xiqian suddenly turned around and grabbed the old man's fist. Then he squeezed hard, and the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Then the old man screamed in pain. Everyone else was dumbfounded by what they saw. They didn't think that Hua Xiqian would be so bold. Old Zhang, I call you Uncle Zhang because I'm giving you face, but don't you dare challenge my bottom line. Otherwise your Zhang family might be doomed. Whether or not your youngest son can grow up safely depends on which side you take this time. The old man was in so much pain, but he didn't dare to yell at Hua Xiqian anymore. He knew Hua Xiqian very well. He had no bottom line and was willing to do anything. Come in. Immediately, a few security guards pushed open the door and entered. Take Uncle Zhang to the hospital, Hua Xiqian said as he spat out the gum in his mouth. Then he looked around and continued to ask, does anyone have anything else to say? Everyone remained silent and lowered their heads. They didn't want to agree, but they didn't dare to deny it either. Hua Xiqian pulled out a chair and sat down. He glanced at the old man on his left and said, Uncle Gao, your eldest daughter has a great body. I have a set of her DVDs. She's a bit hardcore. She went to a nightclub to look for gigolos, but she actually chose African men. If this gets out, President Hua, I agree with you. I fully support you. Without waiting for Hua Xiqian to finish, the old man immediately expressed his stance. Hua Min looked at the other old man beside him. Uncle Yang, I was the one who got someone to cover up the news of your son raping a female university student a few days ago. If this gets exposed by the media, President Hua, I also support you. Brother Jiang. This time he didn't wait for Hua Xiqian to speak. That person immediately said, I also agree with President Hua. After this person finished speaking, the others all nodded in agreement. The scene was completely different from before. These people were all smart people. None of them wanted Hua Xiqian to expose those scandals one by one in front of them. So they might as well obediently agree. Upon seeing this, Hua Xiqian smiled proudly. Since everyone is so supportive, then I won't hold back. When the time comes, I will inform everyone of the specific plan. Also, if today's meeting gets leaked, then everyone's families might have to hold funerals. Of course, I'm just saying this up front. Everyone is so smart, I don't need to say more. I'm sure you won't dig your own graves. After the meeting, the dozen or so people left one after another. Hua Xiqian was in a great mood as he walked downstairs. Wang Shasha ran over from afar and wrapped her arms around Hua Xiqian's arm. Xiqian, I was wrong. I won't dare to say a word about Hua Min ever again. Can you forgive me? Hua Xiqian narrowed his eyes and looked at Wang Shasha. Chapter 1444. Forgiving you is something God did, and my mission is to send you to meet God. After Hua Xiqian said this, Wang Shasha's entire face turned pale. Then she saw Hua Xiqian pinch Wang Shasha's cheeks with a smile. Why are you so nervous? I'm just teasing you. Wang Shasha finally relaxed. Hua Xiqian was in a great mood. He put his arm around Wang Shasha's shoulders, got into the car and drove off. Some media outlets accidentally caught them together, and on the same day, there was a headline titled President of the Hua Corporation is suspected to be in love with Miss Song. Then a reporter took a picture of Song Yisher with sunglasses on, looking very haggard. This made people think that something happened between the two of them, and that they were going to have a divorce. Imperial Star headquarters. When Suyu came out of his meeting, he saw Tang Chuan sitting on the sofa in his office with his legs crossed. Lord Su, the meeting's over. Yeah, why are you here so early in the morning? Don't tell me you're interested in one of our female artists? Suyu teased. No, I've been tired recently, so I'm going to take a break and give up on women. Give up on women? Suyu obviously didn't believe him. Yeah, it's only temporary. Tang Chuan emphasized. I don't believe you either. If you can give up on women, I'll give up on food. Tang Chuan. What the fuck, Lord Su, do you look down on me that much? All these years I've never thought highly of you. You're probably the type of person who can't live without sex. Hee, you know me best, you can read my mind, Tang Chuan sighed. Nobody knows a son better than his father. Lord Su rarely spoke like this. 3 seconds later, Tang Chuan realized that he had been played by Suyu. She was so angry that she rolled up a paper ball and threw it at Suyu's head. I don't have a father as young as you. I don't have such an unfilial son. Suyu continued to tease him. Tang Chuan, did you get triggered by Hua Min's wedding? What the fuck? Your mouth is as venomous as a crane. Do you know how poisonous the crane top red is? Have you drunk it before? Suyu argued. Tang Chuan. When he saw that Tang Chuan had nothing else to say, Suyu chuckled softly as he sorted out the documents sent by the finance department to review. Lord Su? Were you invited to Hua Min's wedding? Tang Chuan asked tentatively. Yes. What does N mean? Yes or no? Tang Chuan was not afraid of death and continued to gossip. Yes. Then, you really plan to go? Suyu's hand froze slightly in the middle of signing documents. Then he looked up at Tang Chuan and calmly asked, why wouldn't I go? Fuck, how big of a heart do you have, big radish? You still want to attend the wedding of the woman you like? Won't it hurt your heart? Do you need me to bring you some pills? I'm afraid you won't be able to take it. No, I'll take it. Actually, sometimes when I think about it, being able to see the happiness of the person I like is also a kind of happiness. After Suyu finished speaking, he lowered his head and continued to sign documents. Lord Su, you're becoming more and more noble. No, I'm just continuing to like her in my own way. I told her that liking you is my own business. No one has the right to stop me, including Hua Min himself. So, even if she holds a wedding and announces to the world that she's Qin Chu's woman, that's her business. In my heart, she'll always be the woman I like, it's that simple. Fuck. Lord Su, you jerk, I'm about to fall in love with you. Chapter 1445. I don't like men, thank you. If I were a woman, I'd fucking sleep with you, Tang Chuan said with a smile. If you're a woman and you're not a decent person, I'll definitely stay far away from you. Fuck you. Tang Chuan originally thought that Su Yu's condition was getting worse and worse, because Huomin's wedding was getting closer and closer. But that wasn't the case. On the contrary, the closer it was to the wedding, the calmer Su Yu became. He was more open-minded than anyone else. He was right. If he couldn't personally make Huomin happy, then seeing her happy with his own eyes was also a kind of happiness. Su Yu's love was no less than anyone else's. He just didn't want to show it, he kept it all in the depths of his heart. Huo Xiqian's been pretty high profile lately. I wonder what he's up to? Tang Chuan changed the topic. I'm not interested in his business. Ever since Su Yu fought with Huo Xiqian at Seductive Fox, he didn't have a good impression of this person at all. Right now, there's a rumor going around that he's going to divorce Song Yishe. I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't want them to divorce. They're such a good match. A fucker and a dog forever, Tang Chuan cursed. Before Huo Xiqian achieves his goal, he won't divorce easily. After all, the Song family can help him with a lot of things, Su Yu analyzed. Tang Chuan nodded in agreement. That's true. It's not a good thing for him to be so high profile lately. I have a feeling that, before Huomin's wedding, he's going to do something, Su Yu said slowly. That night when they met, Huo Xiqian immediately asked if he wanted to do something for Huomin's wedding. Su Yu could feel the unwillingness in his tone. Besides Qin Chu, Su Yu also knew that Huo Xiqian had feelings for Huomin. He was such a smart person, so he was able to notice all the details. Song Yishe was right. The way Huo Xiqian looked at Huomin was different from everyone else. It was a look that said, "You're the only one in the world I can see." Her gaze was gentler and more affectionate than Qin Chu's. This shouldn't be the way Huo Xiqian looked at Huomin. Therefore Su Yu vaguely felt that something big was going to happen this time. And it wasn't a good thing. What can he do? How can that piece of trash Huo Xiqian be a match for Qin Chu? Tang Chuan had always looked down on Huo Xiqian. Huo Xiqian didn't have a good reputation in the entertainment industry, and he had always been a second-generation rich kid with an awkward identity. Because he was adopted and not the biological son of the Huo family, he was looked down upon by everyone. Tang Chuan also thought that an adopted son like him wouldn't be able to do anything big. At most, he would be a prodigal son who drank and flirted with girls. However, Su Yu didn't see it that way. He was able to successfully marry Song Yishe, steal the land from Qin Chu and gain Mayor Song's approval. This wasn't something a simple person could do. Huo Entertainment had only been open for a little over a month, but its revenue had increased by dozens of times. It was a counterattack. Su Yu had been in the entertainment industry for a long time, and it was rare for him to see a company that was able to stabilize itself as soon as it entered the industry. Right now, there were 3 major companies in the entertainment industry: GK, Imperial Star, and the Huo Corporation. The Huo Corporation was the latest company to enter the industry, but they had the most artists, the most works, and the most popularity. There were always interesting topics to talk about. However, Su Yu also knew that Huo Xiqian didn't enter the entertainment industry just to make money or get a share of it. He was targeting Qin Chu. Don't underestimate Huo Xiqian, he's not as simple as he looks. In fact, he's the most scheming and cunning person I've ever met. Su Yu commented seriously. Chapter 1446. I admit that he's sinister. Tang Chuan nodded. So, you should stay away from people like him because he'll do anything to get what he wants. You might not be able to do what he's capable of doing. When someone has no bottom line and dares to do anything, you're no longer their opponent. I don't want to talk to him. Damn, he's so sinister, like a psychopath. Tang Chuan really didn't like Huo Xiqian, because he always thought that Huo Xiqian's smile was creepy. Huo Xiqian's gaze was also very annoying. Do you want to drink tonight? No, I'm going back to the manor tonight to spend time with my parents and grandpa. Your dad's back. Yeah. Su Yu nodded. Do you want to drink with us? My grandpa was talking about you and Wei Liao last night. No, I don't care if your dad's home, but I'm more scared of Uncle Su. Ah, he's too old-fashioned. He starts lecturing us about politics as soon as we see him. Tang Chuan stood up with a smile on his face. Oh, right, I forgot to ask you, how much are you planning on giving Huomin's wedding gift? I heard that Qin Chu and Huo Xiqian already said that they won't accept gifts, but I don't think it's your style to go empty-handed. Pa, after all, he's the person you like. You're asking for it, what does it have to do with you? Get out. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he chased Tang Chuan out. In the end, he didn't say what he was going to give or how much he was going to spend. After Tang Chuan left, Suyu put away the smile on his face and carefully opened the drawer of his desk. He took out a pink invitation card. The secretary delivered it this morning, and it was an official invitation from GK's public relations department. The entire page was pink and there were cartoon images of the bride and groom looking very cute. After opening it, he saw words on the left and a photo of Chinchu and Huamin on the right. It wasn't a wedding photo, but rather a photo of them wearing school uniforms and carrying backpacks. Huamin combed the hairstyle of the female lead in his arms, youthful and invincible. Chinchu, on the other hand, had a rare smile on his face. He carried his backpack with one hand and wrapped his arm around Huamin's shoulder with the other. Both of them smiled sweetly. Suyu felt a dull pain in his heart. Huamin looked so handsome when he smiled, but it was never for her. If one day Huamian could lean on his shoulder like this and smile so sweetly, then he would have no regrets even if he died. His gaze slowly shifted to the left. There were a few lines of small words written in clerical script. It was especially warm. It said, "You are like the touch of peach blossoms when they first bloom. You amaze time and soften the years. You are like the radiant sunshine and the wading of the green mountains and clear waters. A river of spring water, a touch of longing, a tree of green leaves and a heart full of love. You were with me when I was young. We have been together for 7 years and we will enter the next 7 years together and the next 7 years after that until the end of our lives. The breeze in March is like the innocent face of a child, and I am willing to make an eternal promise in this quiet time. Chumion, in this life we will go through thick and thin together." Unlike other wedding invitations, there were so many words, but there was not a single word of love between the lines. There were no mushy words or honeyed words, but it was full of touching words. Even Suyu felt his heart slowly melt when he saw it, especially the last 8 words. In this life we will go through thick and thin together. Such a simple but firm promise meant that Chinchu and Huamian had acknowledged each other's hearts. Suyu sighed softly and carefully put away the invitation. At this moment, Huasiqian was holding a glass of red wine and standing by the window of the apartment. Wang Shasha's hands were tied with a belt, and her body was covered in bruises. Chapter 1447. Huasiqian didn't have sex with her, but he did torture her. There were all kinds of S&M props and costumes. Wang Shasha's horizons were broadened today, but she gritted her teeth and didn't dare to make a sound. The stockings on her thighs were in tatters, as if she had been raped. There were deep marks on her wrists. She didn't even dare to cry. She was the one who came back to beg for forgiveness. Huasiqian was in a great mood after torturing her. He suddenly thought of something and took out the dazzling invitation card from his bag. He reached out his hand and gently stroked Huamian's smiling face in the photo. "Mian, you're so beautiful." Then he picked up a pair of scissors and cut the invitation card in half. He picked up a lighter and lit up Chinchu's half. Looking at the words that were gradually engulfed by the flames, he sneered, "In this life? Together in the wind and rain? Really? I really want to see how far you two can go together." Huasiqian downed the red wine in his hand and walked up to Wang Shasha, looking down at her from above. "Did you enjoy it?" Wang Shasha froze slightly and then her face turned red. Although Huasiqian didn't have sex with her, what they did just now was pretty intimate, right? At least there was some intimacy. When Wang Shasha thought of this, she was shocked by her own thoughts. Why did she feel pleasure after being tortured by the man in front of her? Was she a pervert too? Wang Shasha was a little embarrassed to say it out loud. "But no matter what, you're still a fake. How can you compare to the real thing?" Huasiqian pinched her chin and smiled. "Huasiqian, I'll listen to you. Let me be with you." Huasiqian's eyes immediately softened after he heard this. "If only Mian could be as obedient as you. It would save me a lot of trouble." After Huasiqian spoke, he turned around, picked up Huamin's photo and kissed it passionately. "It won't be long this time. It really won't be long." Huasiqian's voice was filled with uncontrollable excitement. GK Corporation. Huamin held the invitation card and couldn't bear to put it down. She designed the page, and the words inside were indeed written by Chinchu. "Honey, isn't this a little too mushy?" "I've written something even more mushy." Chin continued to act arrogant. "Is it really okay? Won't people think we're flaunting our love?" Huamian was conflicted. "Isn't Dovey, Chin's reply again. Yeah, that makes sense. Huamin sent the invitation card to Xiaowei and Lingling on WeChat. The two of them immediately exploded and began to comment on the matter. Huamin couldn't stop smiling. He never thought that holding a wedding would be such a blissful thing. He could decide a lot of the details himself. Honey, what should we prepare for the guest? Candy or chocolate? How about a gold commemorative coin? That's too extravagant. Huamin was speechless. Then give us GK's jewelry. Diamonds are good. Honey, you can't be so stubborn. Diamonds are expensive. We're holding 500 tables this time. There will be more than 5,000 guests. If you give us presents like this, we'll go bankrupt. Huamin chuckled. It's okay as long as we can hold a wedding. I don't mind going bankrupt. Haha, if you lived in ancient times, wouldn't you be a fatuous ruler? Huamin laughed heartily. His heart was filled with sweetness. Just then Assistant Yang knocked on the door and walked in. Sir. As he spoke, he glanced at Huamin awkwardly. Is it inconvenient? I'll go out first. Huamin stood up to leave. Tell me, I don't keep secrets from my wife, Qin Chu ordered Assistant Yang. Chapter 1448. I just received news that the 13 major real estate developers in the city have teamed up and started to lower the prices. To less than 4,000 yuan. Less than 4,000 yuan? Are they crazy? Qin Chu was completely confused. Real estate wasn't like other industries, where prices could be raised or lowered as they wished. There were market rules. After the global financial crisis in 2008, the domestic real estate market went up. Although C City was now the largest city in Jie Province, the prices weren't as scary as those in Jing City. They were only around 8,000 yuan per square meter. Basically, the dozen or so major real estate developers in the city all had the same price. What they were competing for was location, amenities, and services. GK had been in the real estate business for more than 20 years and was considered a high-end brand. The prices weren't cheap, but the quality of the houses was superb and the services were top-notch. Therefore, they had a good reputation in the city. When Qin Yuman was in power, he was very traditional and stuck to the rules. However, he still considered many things and was willing to do something practical for the benefit of the people. When Qin Chu took over as president, the prices were already as high as 8,000 yuan per square meter. If anyone tried to lower the prices without permission, they would be boycotted and blacklisted by their peers. Now, without any written or verbal discussion, the 13 major real estate developers suddenly lowered the prices to less than 4,000 yuan. It was a crazy move. How is that possible? Their production costs are more than 3,000 yuan per square meter. If they can't sell the houses for 4,000 yuan, not only will they not make money, they might even lose money. They won't even be able to earn back the advertising and endorsement fees. Are they crazy? Huamin thought the same. I don't know the details yet, but it's a mess outside. The customers who paid deposits to buy houses have all come back for refunds and are looking for other places to buy. After 3 seconds of silence, Qin Chu looked at Yang and said, Tell everyone that we'll have a meeting with the higher-ups in 10 minutes. Sir. Huamin frowned slightly. This situation wasn't optimistic at all. It really caught them off guard. That night, the citizens of C City went into a frenzy. All the major media outlets fought to broadcast this news, and it even caused a sensation in the country. Many residents from other cities flew here to buy houses, just so that they could sell the houses when the prices went up. The truth was, these fried rice balls were the most hateful. Houses were originally prepared for groups of people in need. Some people needed a house when they were getting married. Some people's original houses were too old and they needed to move. Some people had a second child and there wasn't enough space, so they needed to move to a bigger house. These people were the ones who needed houses, but after the prices were messed up, the commoners didn't care about that at all. It was as if they didn't want money. Some even went out to borrow money from loan sharks to stock up on houses. During the meeting, Qin Chu told everyone about the situation and the consequences of this incident. For the time being, he thought of some countermeasures. As for the specifics, he still had to continue observing to see if it was a prank. How long could the sale of houses last? When Qin Chu came out of the conference room, Huamin walked up to him and asked, Honey, how was it? Let's wait and see for the time being. I wonder what their goal is. Qin Chu didn't think that his popularity would be so bad that those people would lose money to trick him. Therefore he felt that it might be a deliberate prank. A day or two passed, so he didn't take any deep countermeasures. Huamin felt a bit uneasy. I have a feeling that this incident isn't that simple. What's the situation at GK Real Estate? Huamin asked worriedly. Chapter 1449. We lost a lot of money. A lot of people checked out. Those who paid the deposit all defaulted on their contracts, and some owners who bought the houses are asking to check out. This is ridiculous. Huamin was worried. Don't worry, let's wait and see. Okay. Let's go, I'll take you to eat. Qin Chu held Huamin's hand and the two quietly went to the company's cafeteria. In front of the TV, a large group of reporters surrounded the president of the Zhang Corporation, Zhang Liangui. President Zhang, may I ask why you lowered the price this time? Zhang Liangui's smile was uglier than his crying face. To benefit the people. Ah, President Zhang, you're indeed a famous entrepreneur here. You're a good role model. Only around 4,000 yuan is acceptable to the people. Zhang Liangui smiled and greeted the reporters, but in his heart he was cursing Hua Xiqian thousands of times. If that bastard Hua Xiqian didn't force him, he wouldn't have done something so stupid. This morning he sold a house worth over 10 million yuan. After calculating all the expenses, he lost 7 million yuan. In one morning, 7 million yuan disappeared just like that. He didn't know why Hua Xiqian did this, but he knew that Hua Xiqian was up to no good. Hua Xiqian must have a motive for tampering with the real estate market. Later in the afternoon he began to understand. There were 15 real estate companies in the city, and 13 of them worked together to suddenly lower the price. The only ones that didn't do anything were GK and the Hua Corporation. He heard that a lot of people went to GK to check out, but the Hua Corporation didn't lose anything because they didn't have any important projects on hand. It seemed like Hua Xiqian had been planning this for a long time. Hua Xiqian's motive this time was obvious. At 8 p.m. that night, the Hua Corporation announced that the new residential area Bluestone Huayu would open at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and the price would be set at 3,999 yuan. As soon as the news came out, the entire city was excited to buy houses. Bluestone Huayu was a real estate project that the Hua Corporation had been preparing for, but it hadn't opened yet. The location was not bad. It was at the edge of the 4th Ring Road. Although the traffic was not very developed, it was not in the city center. Fortunately, there was a natural lake nearby called East Lake. The environment was beautiful and the scenery was picturesque. At first, everyone guessed that the starting price of this neighborhood would be around 9,000 yuan. It was so high-end. He didn't expect that it would be set at 3,999 yuan all of a sudden. This was simply a huge discount. This incident put GK in an awkward position because GK had just opened a new project last month, which was a residential and office building. It was called Lafayette Residence. It was located near the 2nd Ring Road in the city center. The opening price was 7,500 yuan. Now that they were compared, the difference in price was half. As the saying goes, there is no harm without comparison. When the Hua Corporation also announced that they were willing to lower their prices, GK was crushed by the last straw. He became the public enemy number one. It wasn't that Qin Chu didn't want to lower the price, but that Qin Chu couldn't afford it. GK had been focusing on quality over the years, unlike those unscrupulous developers. When Chairman Qin was still around, he had always emphasized the importance of quality. All of GK's houses cost more than 4,000 yuan. Including promotional fees and other expenses, GK made less than 1,000 yuan per square meter. For a big developer, this was already a reasonable price. If GK announced that they were going to give a discount to Xiqian, they would have to pay almost half the price. Other people could afford it, but GK couldn't. GK's main business was real estate, and they had sold too many houses over the years. Now that they had a lot of new projects on hand, if they were to give a discount on all of them, GK wouldn't be as simple as losing 7 million yuan in one morning like Zhang Liangui. They would have to pay so much that they would vomit blood. Therefore, GK didn't say anything at this time and insisted on the original price. However, some people who didn't know the truth started cursing and even accusing them of moral blackmail. That night, an anonymous netizen posted an article called, "All the real estate developers in the city are giving out benefits, but GK is the only one that's black-hearted." Chapter 1450. The article pointed out that GK was an unscrupulous developer who had been cheating people out of their money. Now that everyone had lowered their prices, he didn't. A developer like this was so inhumane that no one wanted to buy his house and shut him out. However, as soon as the article came out, a lot of people followed suit. It wasn't clear if they were real netizens or paid posters. Anyway, there was a lot of support and a lot of commotion. Some netizens even went to Huamin's Weibo to curse at him. Qin Chu also had a Weibo account, but he never posted anything and didn't allow people to comment on it. Therefore, these netizens only went to Huamin. Huamin had two identities on Weibo. Chief of Neurology at Southside Recuperation Center Huamin, wife of GKCO Qin Chu. Huamin scrolled through Weibo when he saw the news. He found that Weibo had fallen again. The number of comments increased from 10,000 to 60,000 in an instant. It was too frightening. Huamin, ask your husband to come out and give us an explanation. You guys cheated him so badly. He bought your house last year after we got married and now you're lowering the price. Bitch Hua, I didn't know you and your husband were both black-hearted businessmen. I'm going to hate you now. Ask Qin Chu to come out and explain why he didn't lower the price. He should at least give us an explanation. The internet says that your husband isn't a Chinese citizen and that he got a green card a long time ago. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, then I can understand why he cheated us. He's not from our country, right? Did you become an American citizen with your husband after you got married? Do you dare to show us your passport? Mian, I believe in you, and I believe that your husband has his reasons. Can you give us an explanation? Dr. Hua, what's going on? Why are so many crazy people cursing you? What's going on? Hua, talk to your husband. Everyone lowered the price, so he should lower the price too. Otherwise, he won't be able to sell his house. Isn't it better to lower the price and make less money? Your real estate business is actually very profitable. Let's sit down and watch the show. A spectator who doesn't know the truth floats by. Mian, is your wedding still on the 28th? Would he be affected? I always feel scared, as if you guys can't get married. Don't scold me, I really have this feeling. I don't know why, but it's very strange. Huamin let out a long sigh and silently exited Weibo. Showing off the household register and passport? On what basis? American citizenship? What a joke. Forcing us to lower our prices? If we lower the price, we will lose everything in less than a week. If that happened, Qin Chu would really go bankrupt. Laymen like them would never know the consequences of such a large consortium selling houses at a discount. That would really be digging his own grave. Qin Chu had been working overtime that night to discuss countermeasures. Huamin was sitting in Qin Chu's office, waiting for her. Then she chatted with Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling on WeChat about what had happened. Headquarters of Imperial Star Su Yu got off work half an hour early. He drove straight to the Hua Corporation. Today he was going to beat up Su Yu. He couldn't believe that they would team up with those old men and force GK to lower their prices. How shameless is this method? Hey sir, who are you looking for? At the entrance of the Hua Corporation, the receptionist stopped Su Yu. Tell Hua Xiqin to get the hell out here, Su Yu yelled with a dark expression. Chapter 1451. I'm sorry, but President Hua already got off work. He got off work? Su Yu didn't believe him. Yes, President Hua left after a meeting this afternoon. If you want to see him, you can go to his house. Coward. Su Yu clenched his fists. Did Hua Xiqin take his words for granted? Just a few days ago he warned him not to hurt Huamin. Now that he did something so despicable and shameless, GK was in deep trouble. Huamin must be worried sick right now. Today he saw a lot of people scolding Huamin on Weibo and he was furious. He even created an alternate account to scold those who scolded Huamin, but it was useless. The pressure from public opinion was overwhelming. Inside Hua Xiqin's private mansion he was wearing a bathrobe and sitting by the swimming pool, looking very relaxed. Just then his phone rang. What's going on? Who told you to collectively lower your prices? This is called malicious competition, do you know that? Mayor Song was clearly angry as he questioned Hua Xiqin sternly. Isn't it good to help the people? Father-in-law, why are you angry? Don't try to fool me with these childish things. You want to go against Qin Chu, don't you? Mayor Song had been a leader for many years, so he immediately knew who Hua Xiqin wanted to go against. Judging from the current situation, Qin Chu was indeed in deep trouble, and he was hesitant to move forward. Smart. Hua Xiqin admitted. Why did you do that? How did he offend you? I watched Qin Chu grow up. Not to mention my personal relationship with his father. You can't do that to me. What a joke. This is between you and him. What does it have to do with me? Hu Xiqian chuckled. The king of the land has already been given to you and Qin Chu didn't say anything. Why are you still being so aggressive now? I'm sorry, father-in-law. You may not understand the situation. If Qin Chu hadn't taken away my most precious thing, I wouldn't have to force him like this. What precious item? Mayor Song asked. Well, you can ask him yourself. Oh, by the way, if you can convince him to give me back what he took from me, I can consider letting him go. Nonsense. Stop it right now. You're not just a personal grudge now. You've dragged our entire city's real estate industry into a whirlpool. This is going to cause a big mess. Hu Xiqian sneered. Then you should think of a way. Otherwise, what's the point of being the mayor? Hu Xiqian, you. Before Mayor Song could say anything, Hu Xiqian hung up the phone. He had no time to waste with that old man. Mayor Song was in a meeting in another city and he couldn't come back. He had no choice but to call Qin Chu. Qin Chu had just finished an emergency meeting to discuss tomorrow's plan. Uncle Song? Chu, are you busy? Yeah, I just finished a meeting. I'm in a meeting in F City and I'll be back the day after tomorrow. I know what happened at home and it's a bad influence. I already called Hu Xiqian, but he's being stubborn. He's determined to deal with you. I know. Qin Chu was very calm. Chu, what did you take from Hu Xiqian? What? Qin Chu frowned slightly. When I spoke to him, he said, you took something from him, something important. What I meant was that if it's not important, you should return it to him. Sometimes he's really like a mad dog. He does whatever he wants without caring about others. He's lawless. It's not worth it for you to confront him. It's better to offend a gentleman than a villain. Qin Chu was silent for 5 seconds. He understood what Hu Xiqian meant. Snatched away his most precious thing? He was probably talking about Mian, right? Chapter 1452. But the funny thing was, when did his Mian become his? They had been together since they were young. What did Hu Xiqian have to do with it? Wasn't this guy a bit too shameless? Seeing that Qin Chu didn't say anything, Mayor Qin thought that he was weighing the pros and cons. I know Zhang Liangui well, he's not that capable. It must be Hu Xiqian who instigated this. Chu, although he's my daughter's husband, I won't side with him because of that. On the contrary, Uncle Song watched you grow up and loves you deeply. I won't trick you. Listen to me, the two of you don't have to go to this extent over one thing. Why don't you just give it back to him? Don't make things worse. If things continue like this, the city's development will be in chaos. The provincial government called today and the big boss specifically criticized me. I'm going to retire in 5 years and I don't want to cause any more trouble. You have to understand your Uncle Song. Uncle Song, it's not that I don't understand. First of all, the thing he said never belonged to him. It's always been mine. Second of all, the thing he said was precious to me. It's as important as my life. Do you think I'd give my life to him? Mayor Song didn't say anything after hearing this. Uncle Song, I know you're doing this for my own good. If it was something else, I'd just let it go. After all, I don't want to be his enemy. This isn't a child's game, it's a gamble with my life. But this time I really can't let it go. I can give up everything, including everything I have, but my life. I can't give it up. Qin Chu's attitude was firm. To him, Hu Min was his life. Not to mention Hu Xiqian, no one could have her. No one could take Mian away from him. Okay, I got it. Don't panic, I'll go back the day after tomorrow and we'll talk about it. Okay. After hanging up, Qin Chu fell silent. Although Mayor Song said so, Qin Chu knew that Mayor Song had no way to stop Hu Xiqian. If he was afraid of Mayor Song, he wouldn't have done such a ridiculous thing. Hu Xiqian didn't put anyone in his eyes when he made up his mind to join forces with more than a dozen real estate tycoons to suppress him. So what was Mayor Song to him? Even if he came back, there was no way to save him. Right now, all GK could do was wait and see how long this price war would last. There was nothing else they could do. 3 days later, GK couldn't take it anymore, and Qin Chu called for an emergency meeting to activate the company's reserve funds. Because GK's property prices refused to be lowered, the negative impact was too great and caused public anger. The stock market continued to plunge. Once again it plummeted. It hadn't been that long since the last time, so his vitality had been greatly depleted. Within 3 days GK lost billions. For Chin Chu, losing so much money wasn't the most dangerous thing. The most dangerous thing was that if the stock market continued to plunge like this, not only would GK lose more money, but GK would also become heavily in debt. Tell all the real estate project managers to lower the price to 4,000 yuan starting today. Sir, if we lower the price to 4,000 yuan, we'll lose a lot of money. Yang kindly reminded him. Chapter 1453. I know, but there's really no other way. If we don't lower the price, the stock market won't recover and we'll still die, sir. Even Yang felt bad for the president. Go. Choosing the lesser of two evils was the wise choice of a king. However, on the same day, GK announced that it would lower the price to 4,000 yuan, joining the wave of price cutting. Another piece of negative news exploded. GK's executive vice president, Su Changji, was taken away by the Independent Commission Against Corruption for investigation. Apparently, he bribed a high-ranking official in the province with a huge sum of money, and the official had just been thrown into jail a few days ago. Without a doubt, this kind of news was a big blow to GK. After the incident was exposed, many netizens began to speculate. Some said that Su Changji did a lot of shady things behind Chin Chu's back, and that he embezzled a lot of money himself. He owned 5 mansions in the US and had more than 10 mistresses. Some said that Chin Chu, as the CEO, not only did he not criticize, he even indulged him. With the momentum of the negative news, GK's stock market didn't recover. Instead, it kept falling. They even ignored the fact that GK had already cut their losses and lowered their prices. Chin Chu's decision to save the company disappeared like a stone sinking into the ocean. Hua Xiqian really put in a lot of money this time. One trap after another, and there was no end to it. It was a chain of traps and each one was fatal. For the first time, Chin Chu felt so much pressure that he couldn't breathe. Hua Min went to eat with his mother, and as soon as he came out, he was surrounded by reporters outside. Lady Chin, can you tell us what's going on at GK right now? Lady Chin, are you still going to hold your wedding on the 28th? Can't you change the date? I heard that GK lost tens of billions in assets in the past few days, and is about to go into debt, right? Mrs. Chin, what do you think about Su Changji, the executive vice president of your company? Are you familiar with him? Lady Chin, GK is in such a mess this time. Does President Chin have any ideas about how to deal with it? Hua Min was dizzy from the questions. Plus, these questions were very difficult to answer. If he answered incorrectly, people would twist his meaning and write even worse stories about him. So this time Hua Min chose to remain silent. She lowered her head and didn't speak on the way to her Audi R8. Wearing black sunglasses and a white sweater. Originally, she wanted to go back to the company and think of a solution with Chin Chu. Just then her mother-in-law's call. Mian, why can't he pick up? Mom, he's been having a lot of meetings recently. He might be in a meeting right now. Mian, come here as soon as possible. What? Your dad's dad, this morning. Isn't Dad in the hospital? Hua Mian was surprised. Yes, but when I was taking him for a walk in the back garden of the hospital this morning, he suddenly collapsed. He's still being resuscitated. I called Chin Chu, but he didn't pick up. I was so worried. Mom, don't worry, I'll be right there. Hua Min was going to the company, but after receiving his mother-in-law's call, he made a sharp turn and changed his route. He drove straight to the first hospital. Outside the ward, Hua Min and Lady Chin waited anxiously. Lady Chin's face was pale and her fingers were shaking slightly. It was obvious that she was scared. Dad's going to be fine, don't worry. Chapter 1454. Lady Chin nodded as she held onto Hua Min's hand and looked around. During this time, Hua Min called Chin Chu, but he couldn't get through. Later he called Yang and found out that Chin Chu was having a video conference in the executive meeting room, planning a plan. It had been more than 2 hours, but they were still in the meeting room. GK was surrounded on all sides. Especially after Su Changji's incident, GK was pushed to the center of attention. Hua Min originally wanted to ask his in-laws what kind of person Su Changji was. Apparently he was very close to Chin Chu's father back in the day, and was one of the founding members of GK for 3 generations. Hua Min hadn't seen him much, because he spent most of his time abroad dealing with GK's overseas affairs. A few days ago he came back to China to spend time with his family, but to his surprise he was taken away by the Independent Commission Against Corruption. It was too sudden. Just then the door to the operating room opened and Huamin and Lady Qin immediately walked in. "How is it? How's my husband?" Lady Qin asked anxiously. "He's stable for now." Upon hearing this, Huamin and his mother-in-law both sighed in relief. Then Dr. Lu looked at Huamin meaningfully and said, "Dr. Hua, come with me, I'll get you some medicine. Inject it into the patient later." Huamin was smart enough to know that Dr. Lu didn't say this to get medicine. Instead he said something important behind his mother-in-law's back. Sure enough, after they entered Dr. Lu's office, Dr. Lu took off his mask and said with a serious expression, "Dr. Hua, your father-in-law's condition isn't looking good." Huamin's heart skipped a beat. "What's his condition?" she asked worriedly. "That black shadow in the brain has been confirmed to be a tumor. I don't know what external stimulation the patient received recently, but the tumor grew very quickly. At first it was only the size of a grain of rice, but now it's the size of a soybean." Huamin remained silent after hearing this, but his heart was extremely heavy. "Dr. Hua, you're a doctor too. You should know what this means. The brain isn't like other parts of the body. Once something presses against it, it'll be very dangerous. His current condition of fainting is considered minor. If he doesn't undergo surgery in time, I'm afraid his entire body will be paralyzed." "I know." Huamin's heart sank. "I'm sure you know why I called you here. Why don't you discuss it with your family and see what you can do? Now there are only two options. The first is a craniotomy, but it's very risky because his location is in the central area. If it's a malignant tumor, it may spread faster after the surgery. The second is conservative treatment, but this is also a delaying tactic. Once the tumor erupts, his life will be in danger." Huamin lowered his head, his expression grave. "Okay, I got it. I'll discuss it with my husband and mother-in-law. Thank you, Dr. Lu." "You're welcome. But you have to do it as soon as possible. I don't think the patient can hold on much longer." "Okay, I'll do it as soon as possible." Huamin walked out of the office with tears in his eyes. After Huamin walked out of the office, she hid in a secluded corner of the hallway and secretly cried. Although her father-in-law was very old-fashioned, he was still a good person and treated her well. She didn't have a baby yet. If something really happened to her father-in-law, then she would die of guilt. She had studied her father-in-law's condition with Qin Chu before, and it was indeed not good. She just didn't expect it to worsen so quickly. Huamin wiped away her tears and walked into the VIP room with a smile. What did Dr. Lu say? How's your father doing?" Chapter 1455. "Oh, it's nothing. Dad's just tired." Huamin forced a smile. "Your dad, he's such a worrywart. Chu told him to take care of himself and not worry about anything, but he has to buy the newspaper to read every morning. I don't know what he read, but he's always unhappy. I wanted to take him for a walk to cheer him up, but he fainted. I was so scared." Lady Qin didn't pay attention to the news, so she didn't know that GK was in danger. "Mom, just take good care of Dad. Qin Chu and I will take care of the rest." Thank you for coming here again. Mom, we're family. This is what I should do." After comforting his in-laws, Huamin left the hospital. On her way to the company, she was in low spirits. She didn't know how to tell Qin Chu. Qin Chu was so close to his father. If he knew, he would probably feel even worse. He must be under a lot of pressure now that GK was in trouble. Huamin's heart ached for Qin Chu. He didn't want to let Qin Chu shoulder so much on his own. However, he couldn't hide this from Yang because his father-in-law's life was in danger. "A young lady, you're here." Where is he?" "He's still in the conference room." "He's still in the conference room? How long has he been in there?" 3 hours and 25 minutes. Yang replied. "Okay, I'll wait in the office." After Yang poured Huamin a glass of warm milk, he turned around and left. Half an hour later, Qin Chu came back. "Honey." As soon as he saw Huamin sitting on the sofa in the office, his mood brightened. It was as if all of his troubles were forgotten. "Honey, how is it? Does GK have a solution?" "The savings fund has been activated. I don't know how long it can last. All the departments are adjusting their strategies. The price has been pushed down. Now we just have to wait for the stock market to recover. I hope it doesn't continue to fall, otherwise we won't be able to hold on for long." He didn't hide anything from Huamin. Huamin was not a fool. He knew what kind of situation the company was in. You don't look too good. What's wrong? Honey, Dad fainted today. His condition isn't very optimistic. Huamin bit his lips and decided to say it. Qin Chu seemed to be within his expectations. I just saw Mom call me. What did Dr. Lu say? Qin Chu asked slowly. Dr. Lu, it's just as you expected. There are only two options: conservative treatment or surgery. But with Dad's current condition, it seems that conservative treatment is no longer possible. Craniotomy is very risky. I got it. Qin Chu nodded. Honey, is there anything I can do for you right now? Huamin stood up and looked at Qin Chu's haggard face. His heart ached. What you need to do is eat well and sleep well. Qin Chu cupped her face and gently kissed her eyelashes. Honey, everything will be fine. We don't need anything, we'll face it together. Huamin put his arms around Qin Chu's waist and thought of the words on the invitation. In this life, we'll go through thick and thin together. I'm fine, don't worry. Be a good girl and sit down for a bit. I'll go take care of some documents. Then Qin Chu sat down at his desk and continued working. Huamin sat on the sofa and quietly accompanied him. No matter what happened, no matter what GK's future was, no matter what Qin Chu's fate was, Huamin felt like he had to stay by Huamin's side and never leave him. After a few days of losing sales and the stock market plunging, GK was on the brink of collapse. That night, a famous financial blogger posted a long post on Weibo, saying that GK was now in debt and was about to collapse. Then many famous people on Weibo reposted the post. Because of this, the media reported on it without restraint. At 8 p.m., after Huamin and Qin Chu finished dinner, Qin Chu went into his study for a video conference. Zhu Lingling sent a WeChat message to Huamin in the group chat. Mian, what's going on? Why are people saying that your family is going bankrupt? Chapter 1456. Huamin, yes, we're going bankrupt. Zhu Lingling, really? Don't tease me. Jiang Xiaowei, she's not teasing you. The situation isn't looking good. How much debt do you have now? Huamin, I didn't calculate the exact amount. When the market closed today, we only had about 800 million yuan. That's not a lot. I just don't know what will happen tomorrow. Huamin felt like he was riding a roller coaster every day. It was exhilarating. He had a net worth of 10 billion yuan, but in just a few days he was in debt. Now she finally understood why a pair of famous American tycoons fell from being billionaires to selling newspapers on the streets during the global financial crisis in 2008. Yes, they were rich, but they took on more risks than ordinary people. Zhu Lingling, 800 million yuan? That's not a lot. You're scaring me. Jiang Xiaowei, Mian, don't worry. I've discussed it with Wei Liao. If you need money, just let me know. Wei Liao has 600 million yuan in liquid funds. It won't be a problem. Huamin, not yet. I'll let you know when I need it. Thank you, Wei Wei. Jiang Xiaowei, don't be so polite with me. Plus, I know that even if we're in trouble, it's only temporary. With Qin Chu's ability, he'll definitely be able to resolve this crisis. Huamin, yeah, I believe in him too. Zhu Lingling, Huamin, I can't help you much. Let me treat you to dinner. What do you want to eat? Huamin, I'm really busy right now. We'll meet again when we have time. Jiang Xiaowei, Mian, now that something like this has happened, can the wedding still go on the 28th? Huamin, after 3 minutes of silence, he slowly said, I don't know yet. I'll discuss it with Qin Chu later. Jiang Xiaowei, okay. Let us know if there's any news. Huamin, okay. After logging out of WeChat, she didn't dare to go to Weibo at all because it had already been taken over by the internet water army. They were all cursing her. No matter how strong she was, she couldn't bear to watch. His mother didn't know much about the company, so she didn't know. Jixin, on the other hand, made several calls and heard that GK was in deep trouble overseas. Huamin only told Jixin the good news and not the bad news. But after calming down, even he sighed slightly. Huamin took a hot shower and walked out in her nightgown. She leaned on the bed and let her imagination run wild. She didn't even notice Qin Chu coming in. Qin Chu approached her and scratched the tip of her nose affectionately. What are you thinking about? Why are you so engrossed? Honey, why don't we postpone the wedding? What's wrong? Qin Chu lifted the quilt and walked over, putting his arm around Huamin's shoulder. Too many things have happened recently and you're too busy. This situation isn't suitable for a wedding. Let's wait until this storm blows over. I think a wedding might help us resolve this crisis. It's okay. I don't need it, I can handle it. Let's go on as usual. Huamin counted the days. There were only 9 days left. Would everything really go smoothly? Why did she always feel flustered in her heart? The next morning, Qin Chu and Huamin each drove out. Qin Chu went to the company, and Huamin continued shopping for things she needed to buy for the wedding. Qin Chu originally wanted to go with her, but too many things had happened recently, so he didn't have time. Huamin casually walked around a high-end shopping mall, but she wasn't in the mood to buy anything. Just then her phone suddenly rang. She glanced at it and saw that it was Suyu's number. Hello. Where are you? I'm at Rainbow Street. Give me 10 minutes, I'll be right there. Then Suyu hung up. 10 minutes later, Suyu appeared at the entrance of the shopping mall. Let's talk somewhere else, there are too many people here. Suyu looked around and discussed with Huamin. There's a coffee shop over there, let's go there. Huamin and Zhu Lingling often shopped here, so they were familiar with each other. Okay. Then the two of them went to the coffee shop together. Did you need something from me? Huamin knew that Suyu wouldn't ask her for coffee if he didn't need something. Suyu didn't say anything, but he took out a check from his bag and suddenly pushed it in front of Huamin. Huamin glanced at the number on the check and was shocked. Chapter 1457. I heard that your company is in a bit of trouble right now. Take this money. It's part of my savings. When I get home tonight, I'll tell my dad to get a loan from the Su family bank so that he can give you more money. He was very sincere. He even told Huamin that it was her company, not her husband's company. His tone made Huamin feel very comfortable. It meant that he really treated her as a friend. So you know I can't take so much money from you guys. Are you kidding me? 1 billion is a lot. With your current situation, if you guys keep going, you'll end up in more debt. You have to make up for it. That bastard Huasiqian is so evil, I can't just stand by and watch you guys. I still can't take your money, Huamin slowly said. Is it because of Qin Chu? Suyu stared at Huamin's face and asked. Huamin didn't say anything. Actually, I know that people will gossip if you guys use my money, but really, you have to weigh the pros and cons. Now is not the time to care about your reputation. If you don't say anything, no one will know that I gave you the money. I'm not asking you to pay me back right away. You can give me the money when you guys get through this crisis. I don't want interest, is that okay? Suyu really wanted to help Huamin, so he came prepared with a check for 1 billion yuan. He didn't even need Huamin to sign an IOU. How much trust did he have in him? That's still not okay. I know my husband. He has a lot of pride just like me. We don't want your money. After all, there were so many scandals, it wouldn't be good if someone used it to make an issue out of it. But I appreciate your kindness. Thank you, Suyu, Huamin. Suyu still wanted to say something. Waiter, bring me the menu. I'm hungry. Huamin smiled and changed the topic, which also helped Suyu resolve the awkwardness. Eating here? Shall we go somewhere else? Suyu glanced back. This was a coffee shop. Let's just eat here. I'm too lazy to change. You're treating no problem, right? Huamin smiled brightly. Suyu felt his heart race. Why aren't you saying anything? Huamin tilted his head and looked at Suyu. Nothing. Suyu blushed slightly. Huamin took the menu and glanced at it. There was nothing to eat. I'd like a sirloin steak, medium well, fries, fruit salad, onion rings, and a cup of hot milk tea. Original flavor, thank you. Sir, what about you? The waiter looked at Suyu. The same as her. Suyu didn't know what he wanted to eat either. So he ordered the same thing as Huamin. Huamin was a bit hungry after shopping all morning. He ate a lot, but his table manners were still decent. Suyu didn't have much of an appetite. He would occasionally peek at Huamin as he ate. The opportunity to eat with Huamin face to face was too rare. Although he didn't manage to borrow money from Huamin, Suyu felt very happy to be able to eat with him. He even selfishly hoped that time would pass slowly. Otherwise, this moment of happiness would be gone in an instant. After they finished eating, Huamin called the waiter over. Bill, please. The total is 588 yuan. Pay the bill. Bro, why are you looking at me like that? I'm not paying the bill. Huamin picked up a napkin and wiped his mouth. He looked at the stunned Suyu and reminded him with a smile. Chapter 1458. He finally realized what was going on and felt embarrassed. He quickly took out 10 100 yuan bills and placed them on the table. Keep the change. Thank you, sir. Delighted, the waiter took the money and left. Where are you going? Do you want me to drive you? Suyu offered. It's okay, I'll drive myself. I'll go to Chinchu's company in a bit. Oh, okay, then I'll leave now. Bye. Huamin waved his hand and walked out. Huamin, yeah? Huamin turned his head. And I'm saying if you really need money as a last resort, remember to tell me. I don't dare to say too much, but I can work with my father's bank to give you 10 billion yuan. Turnover won't be a problem. Okay, I will. Huamin nodded and smiled. Then he walked out, got into his R8 and drove away. Suyu put away the 1 billion yuan check and left with a sigh. GK headquarters. When Huamin walked into the office, Chinchu was looking at his computer while eating. He seemed to be working. Mr. Qin, can't you eat properly? Mrs. Qin, have you eaten yet? Chinchu smiled gently. Yes, you just treated me to steak. Chinchu raised his eyebrows. You had dinner with Suyu? Steak? You're getting bolder. Haha, I didn't make an appointment, I just happened to meet him. Oh, it's not really a coincidence he came to me. Suyu is a very loyal person. He knew our company was in trouble and offered to lend me money, but I didn't take it. Why not? Chinchu teased her. Because I believe my husband can solve it. Tisk, you're so good at making me happy. Chinchu smiled in satisfaction and reached out to hug Huamin. Eat properly, Mr. Qin. Feed me, or else I won't be able to eat. That was true. Chinchu had a poor appetite recently. He ate very little. He had to deal with the company and his father's illness. He was already beyond exhausted. Huamin sat on his lap, forked a small piece of braised meatball and fed it to Chinchu. Just like that, the husband and wife were lovey-dovey. When Yang pushed the door open and came in, he was embarrassed. He opened the door and was about to leave. Come back. Chinchu shouted. Boss, please continue. I didn't see anything. We're eating, not doing anything else. What are you thinking? Chinchu looked at him helplessly. I want to remind you, boss, you'll be meeting a big client in 10 minutes. Okay, I got it. Chinchu nodded and wiped the corner of his mouth with a tissue. Honey, I'm going to meet a client to discuss something. Okay, go ahead. I'll wait for you here, Huamin said with a smile. Chinchu nodded, adjusted the collar and cuffs of his suit and turned around to leave. Huamin held the remote control and turned on the TV to watch TV. However, he accidentally saw Huasiqian's live broadcast. He was doing an exclusive interview in a high-profile manner. It was also about finance. The host asked him, President Hua, what do you think about the collective property price reduction in the city? Huamin straightened his back and stared at the TV. Huasiqian smiled and replied, Isn't that great? Everyone wants property prices to go down. Now that property prices are down, many people can buy it. Girls don't have to trouble their boyfriends anymore, and mothers-in-law don't have to trouble their son-in-law anymore. After Huasiqian finished speaking, the audience laughed and applauded spontaneously. The female lead also laughed. President Hua is so humorous. President Hua, what do you think about GK's recent financial crisis? I heard that the wife of GK's president is your sister. With this close relationship, I wonder if you and the Hua Corporation will help? Chapter 1459. Well, how should I put it? After all, I'm not a philanthropist and have no obligation to help others. It's not a small sum of money, but if my little sister comes to me, I'll help her out for her sake. After all, we're family and we can't write the word Hua in one stroke. Huamin was furious upon seeing this. She gripped the remote control tightly. Huasiqian, I won't beg you even if I have nowhere else to go, you despicable bastard. A few days ago she returned the jade bracelet that Huasiqian gave her. It was said to be worth 8 million yuan, and Zhu Lingling even tried to persuade her to sell it for cash. However, Huamin thought about what Huasiqian did. Even if she sold it for cash, she still felt disgusted by the money. So she returned the bracelet. They hadn't seen each other in a few days, but now she saw him on TV. He even made such a hypocritical statement. She was furious. She was rarely this angry and most of the time she was calm. However, Hua Xiqian was so despicable this time. It was obvious that he was targeting Qin Chu. Therefore, she didn't want a birthday present from someone like him. People are saying that you and your wife, Song Yisher, have fallen apart, and that there's a third party involved. Is that true? It's just a rumor. My wife and I are very close. Hua Xiqian smiled again. If Song Yisher was watching the live broadcast, she would probably be furious. He was a person who could lie through his teeth. Then a while ago there was a photo of you and a pretty woman. The hostess paused for a second, waiting for Hua Xiqian's reaction. He wasn't angry and a smile remained on his face. She's an artist that my company is going to promote. I've been in contact with her in private. Oh, I see. Also, I heard that the runner-up and runner-up of the Star of GK both signed with your company, right? Yeah, they weren't happy with GK's offer and President Su of Imperial Star didn't want to take them, so I had to be the good guy and take them. Hua Xiqian pretended to be a good Samaritan. Hua Min felt like vomiting. Big pervert Hua Xiqian. Hypocrite. Despicable. Wait until my husband gets through this. Let's see how I'll repay you when I have time. When that time comes, I'll definitely let you have a taste of being pushed into the teeth of the storm. Hua Min wasn't good at scheming, but that didn't mean she didn't know how to scheme. She had such a high IQ. If she could calm down and think of ways to scheme against others, she would be very powerful. However, she had been preoccupied with her wedding with Qin Chu recently, so she really didn't have the time to deal with Hua Xiqian. When this matter was over, Hua Min planned to teach that scumbag a lesson. Unfortunately, she didn't know how tragic the consequences of this incident would be. When Qin Chu came back from his meeting, he continued to work for a while. Then he saw that it was almost time for dinner. He held Hua Min's hand. Honey, I'll take you to eat Japanese food. Do we still have money to eat Japanese food? How about spicy hot pot? Hua Min's pitiful look was so adorable. For the first time, Qin Chu laughed heartily. What are you laughing at? Honey, how poor do you think your husband is? Spicy hot pot. Do I look like I'm spicy hot pot? You're spicy but not hot enough, Qin Chu. Huh, that's funny. Honey, I like your expression. Hua Min leaned over and stole a kiss on Qin Chu's cheek. Yang accidentally saw the president and a young lady showing off their love again. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. How big were these two's hearts? During this critical period, shouldn't they be frowning? Just then Qin Chu's cell phone rang. Rick, what's up? Come to Seductive Fox, let's talk when we meet. Rick had always been colder than Qin Chu, so he always kept things short. Chapter 1460. Okay. Rick definitely didn't call Qin Chu to talk nonsense. Qin Chu drove Hua Min to Seductive Fox. On the top floor of Seductive Fox, Hua Min stopped in her tracks at the door. Honey, what's wrong? Qin Chu tilted his head and looked at her. You can go in by yourself. It's not convenient for me to be around when you talk to Rick. Although Hua Min had never asked Qin Chu about Rick, with her intelligence, she was definitely able to guess what was going on. A man who opened the biggest nightclub at such a young age definitely had a powerful family background. Let's go in together. I don't hide anything from you, nor do I want to hide anything from you. This time, Qin Chu didn't care about what Hua Min thought. He pulled her hand and pushed the door open. Although Hua Min didn't say anything, her heart felt warm. When a man trusted and loved a woman deeply, he would take her to see his most beloved family, best buddies, and most loyal friends. He didn't have any secrets or personal space. People who said that everyone had the right to their own personal space were mostly looking for a backup plan. The truth was, from Qin Chu's point of view, Hua Min was worth seeing anyone, going anywhere, and appearing at any event. There was no such thing as an inconvenience. Rick was wearing a white shirt and a black vest today. He had a special background and his eyes were always as blue as a lake. Everyone in the world knew that mixed-race people were good-looking. However, it was a little shocking to associate such a good-looking man with asshole. Rick wasn't surprised to see Hua Min. He seemed to be used to Qin Chu spoiling his wife. Have a seat. Qin Chu and Hua Min both sat in the back seat. The person beside them took the initiative to make 2 cups of tea and bring it over. Hua Min was more knowledgeable. He could guess what it was just by smelling the fragrance. It's Mao Feng before the Qingming festival rain. Smells so good. Well, Rick was slightly stunned. He glanced at Hua Min and said, I'll ask you to send some to her when we leave. Hua Min waved his hand repeatedly. No need, no need. That would be too embarrassing. Don't worry. He's rich. We can take advantage of him. Chin Chu reminded him with a smile. Rick, Huamin covered her mouth and snickered. Why are you looking for me? Tell me. Chin Chu leaned back on the sofa looking very comfortable. Their relationship was different from Gao Ran's. Gao Ran was childhood friends so they could hurt each other. Although she didn't talk much with Rick, there was a lot of tacit understanding between the two men. It was a kind of silent friendship. Huamin raised his head and saw Rick take out a black gold card from behind him. He threw it on the coffee table in front of Chin Chu. What? Money. How much? 3 billion. Chin Chu's question was straightforward, so was Rick's answer. Where did you get so much money? My dad and brother sponsored a little. Huamin didn't say anything. Although 3 billion wasn't a lot, it was enough for the company to deal with an emergency. This Rick was very rich. He was just the owner of a nightclub, but he was the son of a rich landlord. You borrowed it from me? Yeah. Rick nodded. Can't you just lie to me and say that you don't need to pay me back? Chin Chu teased him on purpose. 3 billion USD. Do you think I don't need to pay you back? Rick answered seriously. Huamin almost spat out the tea in his mouth. 3 billion? So it was USD, oh my god. If it was converted to RMB, it would be more than 18 billion. He could directly pay off his debt and still have a lot left. Rick, this kid, really didn't reveal his wealth. He was too low-key. Huamin probably didn't know that Rick's family was a well-known mafia family in Europe and America. Not only did the family launder money and smuggle weapons, but they also controlled the drug trade over there and had a controlling stake in a famous international brand. It was very impressive. As for why Rick was sent to Sea City to open a nightclub and live out his days there, it was because she had a China complex and was friends with Chin Chu. She was used to the climate here, and because this was her mother's hometown, she had a special relationship with this place. I don't need to pay interest, right? Chin Chu rubbed his forehead and asked arrogantly. Chapter 1461. If you want to give it to me, I won't stop you. Don't worry, I won't give it to you. I won't be polite to a super rich person like you. Chin Chu stood up and put the black card in his pocket without any hesitation. Huamin was dumbfounded. Let me know if it's not enough. Okay, thank Ian and Uncle for me. What about me? Rick raised his eyebrows. Why did Chin Chu only thank his brother and dad? Most of the money came from his own private stash. You don't have to thank me, we're so close. Chin Chu smiled. Huamin watched on the side happily. When his husband was scheming, it was really infuriating. An innocent young master like Rick was no match for him. Mr. Chin was always teasing him. As they chatted, the door was suddenly pushed open. A young girl rushed into the room in a huff. Without thinking, she threw herself into Rick's arms. How many times do I have to tell you? Why are you still so impulsive? Rick scolded her gently and lovingly. I'm just worried that we won't make it. The movie is about to start, let's go. Otherwise, we won't be able to see what's going on. Are there any good movies lately? Huamin asked curiously. Only then did the girl notice that there were other people in the room. Hey? Huamin, you guys are here? The girl smiled slightly. Hi, Cici. Huamin greeted her with a smile. Let's go together, it's a really good movie. Cici was very enthusiastic. Every time he saw her, she was as passionate as fire. She and Rick were two completely different people. Huamin thought that maybe that was why they were attracted to each other. What movie? Cici? Huamin couldn't help but ask. The new big head son and the little head father, Cici answered happily. Huamin, Chin Chu, Rick, you have good taste now. Chin Chu smiled at Rick. She really couldn't imagine what it would be like for a person like Rick to watch cartoons. Rick. I don't really like this cartoon. Maybe next time. My husband and I still have things to do, so we'll leave first. As he spoke, Huamin nudged Chin Chu's arm. Chin Chu stood up. We'll be leaving first. Rick nodded. When the two of them walked to the door, they heard the girl inside say, I won't recognize you if you put on a vest, you little brat. Huamin couldn't help but burst into laughter. Is it that funny? Chin Chu was stunned by Huamin's devilish laughter. Yes, absolutely. Cici is so cute, huh? Is this what love is? Before Chin Chu could finish, Cici interrupted him. Huamin shamelessly continued. Everything has its vanquisher. Hey, Mrs. Chin, you win. You're welcome, Mr. Qin. Should we go back to the company and start paying off our debts? Huamin knew that with Rick's large sum of money, the company would definitely be able to solve their immediate problems. Thinking about how their wedding was in less than a week, they were really excited. What was the saying again? Wait until the clouds parted to see the moon. It really was. Huamin hummed a little tune as he sat in the passenger seat in a very good mood. When the two of them returned to the company, Qin Chu went straight into the conference room for a meeting. That afternoon, GK's stock market began to recover. Many shareholders who almost vomited blood from their losses began to see their money recover. Therefore, everyone was no longer as angry as before. On a well-known financial newspaper, there was a banner headline: Young Business Tycoon Saves Stock Market, GK's stock market begins to recover. That afternoon, when the market closed, Qin Chu was very satisfied with the initial data. At this rate, he would be able to pay off all his debt in a week, and the stock market would return to normal. Hua Corporation headquarters Hua Xiqian looked at the stock market on his computer and laughed in disdain. I just want you to back off. Isn't it better to just let go? Why do you always have to force me to use my trump card? That night, a post was posted on a forum and spread like wildfire. Chapter 1462. Someone claiming to be a police officer revealed that GK's vice president, Su Changji, had been detained by the Independent Commission Against Corruption. No one was surprised that he was formally charged by the Independent Commission Against Corruption for corruption, bribery, fraud, and money laundering. What was surprising was that when Su Changji gave his first statement, he said that he was ordered by GK's president, Qin Chu, to do all of this. The person claiming to be a police officer also posted a recording of Su Changji's statement. Although it was only a few seconds, it was indeed his voice. He said, "Everything I did today was ordered by President Qin." Then the police-like person asked, "Which President Qin?" He said, "Little President Qin." Little President Qin unintentionally said Qin Chu. As soon as he said this, it immediately caused an uproar. If this incident really had something to do with Qin Chu and he was convicted, then Qin Chu would face jail time. At the first hospital, some busybody at the company sent this news to Qin Yuman's phone. The old man rarely watched the news these days and he basically didn't watch TV anymore. He spent most of his time recuperating. He kept his phone so that he could occasionally play chess, but he didn't expect to see this kind of news. At the time he was so angry that his entire body shook. This old Su? I've treated him well all these years, how could he slander me like this? Chu only came back for a little over a year. How could he order him to do so many things? I knew that he used GK's money to buy a house in the States, and I tacitly agreed to it. Why would he harm my son like this? Old Qin, calm down, speak slowly. Lady Qin was so scared that her face turned pale. No, I have to ask him why he's slandering me. I also have to find the reporters. I have to tell them that old Su is making things up. Chu isn't that kind of person. Qin Yuman was so agitated that his vision turned black, and he immediately fainted on the hospital bed. Old Qin, don't scare me. Lady Qin was so scared that her hands shook. She immediately pressed the emergency button to call the doctors and nurses. Then she called Qin Chu and Huamin. 15 minutes later, Qin Chu and Huamin arrived at the hospital. Mom, how's Dad? Qin Chu anxiously asked. I don't know, he's still in the emergency room. Lady Qin secretly wiped her tears. Huamin gave her a tissue. Mom, Dad will be fine, don't cry, take care of yourself. The emergency room treatment for over an hour. When Dr. Lu came out of Qin Yuman seeing Qin Chu and Huamian, he said, if you don't make a decision now, it'll be too late. Discuss it tonight and give me an answer by tomorrow morning. We can't delay any longer. What does Dr. Lu mean? Mrs. Qin looked at her son and then at her daughter-in-law with a confused expression on her face. Qin. S. Qin. Qins. Qin was Qin. Qin. Qin, as a brain surgeon, he knew his father's current condition all too well. He really didn't want to operate on him because most of the time he wouldn't be able to leave the operating table. Unlike Jing Zhixin, who had a blood clot from a car accident, his father, on the other hand, had a brain tumor. Once it was removed, it would spread and there would be no cure. It was better to use conservative treatment. But conservative treatment didn't seem to work. Mom, why is Dad like this all of a sudden? Wasn't he fine this morning? Huamin asked. I just saw a piece of news and that's it. What news? Qin Chu asked coldly. Lady Qin took out her phone and handed it to her son. Qin Chu's face darkened after he saw it. Bastard. The person who posted the news was an employee of GK Su Changji's assistant. He was also a man and had been at GK for many years. I really don't know why he wants to court death like this. Chu Mian, are you two hiding something from me? What's wrong with your dad? Lady Qin finally felt that something was wrong. She was terrified by Dr. Lu's words and her son and daughter-in-law's expressions. Chapter 1463. Mom, it's nothing serious, don't worry. Huamin tried to comfort his mother-in-law. Mian, don't lie to me. I'm not stupid. I can tell from your and Chu's expressions. Your dad doesn't have cancer, does he? Lady Qin asked with a trembling voice, her face pale. Mom, I'm not sure yet. Dad has a tumor in his brain. I'm not sure if it's benign or malignant. He might need surgery, but the risks are high. Qin Chu explained word for word. Brain tumor? Mrs. Qin felt like she was about to stumble. She almost fell, but Huamin reacted quickly and held on to his mother-in-law. Mom, are you okay? Mom, don't be too sad, maybe Dad's tumor is benign. Qin Chu told a white lie. He's already so old, how can he afford to go through this? Can he survive a craniotomy? Your dad, he's never been in good health. Why does he have to deal with all kinds of diseases? Why doesn't it grow on me? Lady Qin cried her heart out. Huamin held on to her, feeling sad as well. Although her mother-in-law's mouth was unreasonable, she actually loved her father-in-law very much. Lady Qin was a beauty when she was young, and she and Qin Yuman were once an enviable couple. Now that she was old, she had to go through this kind of torment. Indeed, she couldn't take this blow right away. Mom, don't be sad, I won't let anything happen to Dad. Qin Chu was determined to operate on his father himself. Then, the chances of success would be much higher. This was a risky idea, and he didn't have time to discuss it with Huamin. At the hospital, Huamin and Qin Chu stayed with Lady Qin for a long time. In the end, the nanny helped Lady Qin home to rest. Huamin and Qin Chu stayed at the hospital to take care of Qin Yuman. Because it was a VIP room, the family members had extra rooms and beds to rest in. It was very clean and tidy. Honey, go to sleep, I'll take care of Dad. No, go to sleep, I'll take care of it. Let's not push and shove, you should go. There's a lot to take care of at the company tomorrow. The stock market is recovering, we can't relax. We also have to warn Huasiqian in case he tries something. Okay, that's good. In the end, Qin Chu couldn't argue with Huamin and went to the suite next door. Huamian sat on the chair and watched the four drip for her father-in-law. From time to time she would pull up the corner of his blanket. During ward rounds, the doctors and nurses were full of praise for Huamian. Dr. Hua is so easy to take care of. People would think that she's the daughter of the Qin family. Her attitude towards her in-laws is, really, yeah, Dr. Hua's a man of few words, but he's very practical. I like him too. That's great, Qin Chu likes Dr. Hua so much. If I were a man, I'd like him too. He's smart, sensible, and not pretentious. The nurses discussed amongst themselves. After midnight, Huamin was so tired that he laid on the table and took a nap. Hearing a sigh, Huamin slowly opened his eyes. Dad, you're awake? Huamin immediately stood up. Yeah. Qin Yuman's breathing was very weak. Dad, do you want some water? Are you hungry? Qin Yuman slowly shook his head. Myung, hey? Huamin turned around and responded. Sit down. Qin Yuman waved his hand with difficulty. Huamin poured a glass of warm water and placed it next to his father-in-law. Then he sat down on the chair next to him. Where's your mom and Chu? Mom, she's not feeling very well, so she went back to rest. Qin Chu's in the room next door. He's been busy with work for the past few days, so I let him sleep first. Do you want me to wake him up? It's okay. I actually have something to talk to you about. Okay, go ahead. Huamin nodded respectfully as he looked at his father-in-law's haggard face. Chapter 1464. Huamian truly treated Huamian as her own family. Mian, my wife and I did so many wrong things in the past. I'm really grateful that you didn't hold it against us and stood by Qin Chu's side. We're so ashamed of ourselves. We're so sorry for what we did to you, your mother and your late stepfather. Dad, don't say that. Let bygones be bygones. I really don't blame you anymore, Huamin said honestly. I think this is karma. I've only done one wrong thing in my life and now it's my turn. I know about my condition so you don't have to hide it from me. Dr. Lu already told me that I don't have much time left. No, Dad, you'll definitely get better. I know whether or not I'll get better. Don't try to comfort me. Maybe I'm just not lucky enough to see my future grandchildren. Qin Yuman said as tears welled up in his eyes. I'm sorry, it's my fault. Huamin lowered his head in guilt. He placed his hands on his knees. No, it's not your fault. I'm just not lucky enough. If one day I'm gone, I hope you can take good care of your mom for me. She's a bad person, but she's not a bad person. She's single-minded and likes to listen to people sowing discord. That's why she misunderstood you. If I'm gone, she'll be very sad. When the time comes, you guys should take her around. Chinchu didn't, so take her with you. Don't make her sad. Everyone dies one day and I'm already so old, I should be content with what I have. I've lived a life of luxury and I have a filial son and a daughter like you by my side. I can die without regrets. Dad? Huamion's voice was choked with sobs. It felt like the old man was saying his last words. I don't know about other things, but Chu really likes you. I hope that no matter what happens in the future you won't let him down, okay? I won't. Don't give up on him. He's a man of few words and has a cold personality, but he cares about you the most. When I was young, when he first told me that he wanted to marry you, I thought it was just a ridiculous promise. 7 years later he came back to China to get married to you. That son of mine is actually very similar to me in this aspect. He's stubborn and once he's decided to do something he'll do it for the rest of his life. When I was young I encountered all kinds of temptations, but I was still unmoved because your mother was in my heart. I felt that she was betting her happiness on me, so I definitely couldn't let her lose. Huamin was crying so hard that he couldn't speak. Don't cry, kid. Everyone dies. I'm really fine. Qin Yuman smiled. Dad, we don't want you to leave. Qin and Mom can't live without you. Even without me they still have to live on. If there is a next life I still hope to be a family with all of you. If your children are born in the future, you must bring them to my grave and let me see them. Tell them that Grandpa loves them very much. Huamin burst into tears when he heard this. His cries grew louder and louder. At this moment in the room next door, Qin Chu wasn't sleepy at all. He was also crying quietly. He had been using his phone to deal with company matters and hadn't slept at all. He accidentally overheard Huamin talking. Just as he was about to walk out, he overheard his father and Huamin's conversation. Then he felt like his heart was being torn apart. Dad was such a heavy title. He shouldered so much love and responsibility. Qin Chu didn't have a happy childhood like other children. Qin Yuman was very strict with him. However, after he grew up he respected and trusted him. He handed GK directly to him. Now that his father was suddenly seriously ill, coupled with company matters, Qin Chu was a huge blow. His heart felt as if there was a huge rock pressing down on it. It was very heavy. Especially when he heard his father say those words to Huamin. It was as if he was saying his last words. Just then Qin Chu's father said, "Actually, there's still something I can't let go of." Chapter 1465. Dad, go ahead. Huamin wiped away his tears. I saw the news today. I only found out about the company's problems. Su Changji has been with me for many years. He's one of the founding members of the company. We're good friends, so it's normal for him to embezzle some of the company's assets. I also know that he bought a house in the States, but I didn't expect him to testify against Chu and frame him. I'm very disappointed, but I know Su Changji well. He's not so despicable as to push all the blame onto Chu to protect himself. So I suspect that he was threatened by someone. Mion, although you don't work at the company, you're very smart and have a high IQ. You have to investigate this thoroughly. You can't let Chu face the disaster of being imprisoned. Dad, don't worry about this. Qin Chu and I are already investigating. As far as I know, he was indeed threatened. Apparently, Su Changji's youngest daughter was kidnapped 3 days ago, but the Su family refused to call the police. This is enough to prove everything. I won't let anyone hurt Qin Chu. He's the most important person to me. I will protect him for the rest of my life. Thank you, Mion. Upon hearing Huamin's words, Qin Yuman was very happy. Dad, drink some water and rest. Huamin helped his father-in-law up to drink some water. Qin Chu leaned against the door of the adjacent room and didn't walk out. He didn't dare, he didn't want his father to see him cry. That would increase his father's psychological pressure. He just wanted to plan the surgery properly and do his best to make it as perfect as possible. The next morning, Lady Qin and the nanny came to take care of him, while Huamin and Qin Chu drove away. Huamin looked rather haggard, so Qin Chu drove her back to South Hill Manor. Honey, don't go to the company today, get some rest. I'm worried. It's okay, be a good girl. The wedding candies and chocolates we ordered arrived today. You can ask them to pack them up at home and give them to the guests as gifts. Honey, let's postpone the wedding. Is it because of Dad's illness? Qin Chu knew Huamin better. Huamin nodded with a heavy heart. No need. The wedding will be held as usual. I will personally operate on Dad after the wedding. If you do it yourself, what are the chances of success? Huamin asked worriedly. To be honest, there's no chance of winning. Qin Chu lowered his head. Huamin's heart sank again. But I don't have a choice now. I have to give it a try. Yes, I believe that Dad will be fine. Heaven helps the worthy. Good girl, rest well and conserve your energy. You are the most beautiful bride. Qin Chu kissed Huamin on the lips and then drove to the company. Unexpectedly, at the entrance of the company, she saw Song Yisher, whom she had not seen for a long time. Qin Chu, what do you want? Qin Chu's attitude was still cold. Song Yisher was wearing a wine-red cashmere coat and carrying a white Dior bag. She was dressed very coquettishly, but no matter how pretty she was, Qin Chu didn't even look at her. I have something important to tell you. I don't have anything to say to you, Qin Chu said as he walked in. Song Yisher caught up to him. Qin Chu, it's really important. It concerns the safety of your company. You know, Qin Chu coldly glanced at Song Yisher's face. Huasiqian did all of this. He's the one behind all of this. Do you know why? Song Yisher asked word for word. Chapter 1466. Qin Chu didn't say anything, because that damn psycho likes Huamin. He likes him like crazy, did you know that? Song Yisher sounded as if she was announcing an important secret. Her voice was a little agitated. Qin Chu, on the other hand, remained calm. He had known for a long time that Huasiqian liked Huamin. Otherwise, he wouldn't have warned Huamian to ignore Huasiqian. Qin Chu never underestimated him. He always knew that Huasiqian was a dangerous person. So what? Qin Chu raised his eyebrows and asked coldly. He'll do anything to achieve his goal, did you know that? Huasiqian is a complete psychopath. He's crazy and has no bottom line. Normal people like us can't stand up to him because he's not even on the same level as us. Or to put it more bluntly, he's no longer human. Yes, Song Yisher had to tell Qin Chu how terrifying Huasiqian was. Everyone was fooled by his appearance and thought that he was the smiling and easygoing President Hua. But what if he wasn't? He wasn't President Hua at all. He was a bloodthirsty wolf with huge ambitions and desires. He would never give up until he achieved his goal. He didn't even care about human lives. You couldn't judge a person by right or wrong because he would never think that he was wrong. So, Qin Chu continued to interrogate her coldly. He already knew everything that Song Yisher said, and in fact he already knew. He didn't know why Song Yisher came to him with such great fanfare. Qin Chu was in a bad mood and didn't want to waste time with her. Just then, Song Yisher took a few steps closer and said in a low voice, Qin Chu, you have to kill him. Are you crazy? Qin Chu was truly shocked this time. He looked at Song Yisher in disbelief. She was a highly educated student. How could she have such crazy thoughts? How could she ask him to kill someone? Qin Chu thought that to deal with Huasiqian he only needed to make him suffer a crushing defeat. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine and use a more sophisticated method to bankrupt the Hua Corporation. Why did he have to kill someone? This was something that touched a person's three views and the bottom line of right. He couldn't do it. Even if he wanted to, Huamin wouldn't agree to it. Qin Chu, listen to me. If you don't do this, you won't be able to deal with him. He's really scary. I can guarantee that he has more tricks up his sleeve. Even if your company survives this crisis, he still has more tricks up his sleeve. Really, please believe me, I'm not trying to scare you, nor am I exaggerating. I know too well what kind of person Huasiqian is. After Song Yisher and Huasiqian got married, What she saw was basically intolerable. She only dared to come to Chinchu because she made up her mind. If Hua Xiqian found out about this, he would probably teach her a lesson. Hua Xiqian was the kind of person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. If you did anything to him, he would immediately retaliate. Hua Xiqian couldn't compare to Chinchu in this aspect. At least he was different and wasn't magnanimous. However, in Hua Xiqian's world, he didn't care if people called him petty or calculative. He said that he didn't care about anything. He didn't care how people looked at him or how they scolded him. He only wanted Huamin. This was his lifelong wish. But I can't kill him. I can just ruin his reputation. You can't be too ruthless. Chinchu frowned slightly. He and Rick had already thought of a perfect plan. They would carry it out as soon as the wedding was over. When the time came, the whole corporation would collapse in the shortest time possible, and Hua Xiqian would have nothing left. This time he wouldn't let him go. He realized that if he didn't defeat him and beat him up badly, he would never let go of Huamin. It's useless. Really, believe me, as long as he's alive, he'll become a tumor. You have to kill him. Song Yisha tried her best to persuade him. Chapter 1467. That's enough, stop talking. You can leave now. I have my own way of dealing with Hua Xiqian. Chinchu didn't want to listen to another word. However, he didn't know that although Song Yisha's words were extreme, they were actually correct. To deal with Hua Xiqian, extreme methods were necessary. This was why Chinchu hated himself for being too kind. Why didn't he kill Hua Xiqian? If he didn't, the tragedy of being separated from Huamin wouldn't have happened. Chinchu turned around and walked into the building. Song Yisha stood alone not too far behind him. She wanted to cry, but no tears came out. This time she really didn't say anything to Chinchu. It was wishful thinking. Although she really wanted Chinchu and Huamin to divorce. If that happened, she would still have a chance. However, compared to that, she wanted Chinchu to kill Hua Xiqian, the psycho. She had a feeling that as long as Hua Xiqian was alive, she wouldn't have a good life. Moreover, she wasn't so simple that she would think that after Hua Xiqian divorced her, they would really go their separate ways. That was impossible because she already knew a lot about him. He had a lot of dirt on her, her father and her uncle. If Hua Xiqian didn't die, he would use the power of the Song family to do a lot of bad things, right? Chinchu, if you don't listen to me today, you will regret it. Song Yisha was so angry that she got into her white Audi Q5. Then she hesitated for 3 seconds. She took out her phone and said coldly, "Do it. Remember to do it cleanly." "Yes, Miss Song. Don't worry, we were paid to do it." After hanging up the phone, Song Yisha suddenly felt a little guilty. This was her second plan. If Chinchu didn't agree to kill Hua Xiqian, then she would do it herself. But would it succeed? If he succeeded, then everything would be fine. But if he failed and the matter was exposed, then Song Yisha didn't even dare to think about what would happen to her. At 12:30 p.m. that day, Hua Xiqian drove the Rolls-Royce Phantom out of the Hua Corporation's underground parking lot. Every day at this time he would go out for lunch on time. Hua Xiqian was very picky about what he ate. He would not eat in the office, nor would he order takeout. Because he didn't trust anyone at all. Therefore she would buy her own groceries and go to the Hua family's private kitchen that she opened not far away. There was a worker he hired there. She was a mute woman in her 50s. No one knew where this person came from, but he had a very good relationship with Hua Xiqian. If she was not around, Hua Xiqian would cook for himself. Only when he was with Huamin would he not have any doubts. This was because he knew that his Huamian was very kind and would not do something as low as poisoning someone. When Hua Xiqian drove a few meters out at noon, he saw a big truck rushing towards him. Looked like it wanted to kill him. He immediately turned the steering wheel to the right. At this time, a big truck was also coming from the right. It was a pincer attack. Fortunately, Hua Xiqian reacted quickly and immediately reversed the car. Luxury cars were indeed different. Their speed was also incomparable to normal cars. Hua Xiqian quickly reversed the car and wanted to go back to the garage. At this time, a black Land Rover came out of nowhere and crashed into Hua Xiqian's car. This was a 3-way pincer attack. He really wanted to put him to death. Chapter 1468. Just as the cars were about to crash, Hua Xiqian quickly opened the car door and got out of the car. Then he personally watched as the 3 cars crashed into his Phantom, which was worth more than 30 million yuan. A deafening sound was heard. Then the drivers of the 3 cars fled in different directions. This scene is well designed, but such a simple and violent design doesn't seem like something Qin Chu would do. Hua Xiqian leaned against the wall of the office building and took out his phone. Get me the CCTV from just now. Find the 3 cars within an hour and then interrogate them. I want to know who planned the serial car accident. After speaking, Hua Xiqian hung up the phone. It was indeed a close call, but it wasn't like he had nowhere to run. So, there really was someone who wanted to kill him so badly? Unfortunately, Hua Xiqian looked up at the bright sun in the sky and smiled. Unfortunately, you won't be able to kill me. Song Yisher waited for a long time, but she didn't receive any calls from those people. She didn't know what happened. Just then she received a news alert on her phone. Breaking news: there was a 3-car pileup in front of the Hua Corporation. A Rolls-Royce Fantasy was smashed beyond recognition. Apparently, it was the car of the president of the Hua Corporation. The employees of the Hua Corporation also confirmed that President Hua Xiqian was in the car when the accident happened. As for what happened to him, it's still unclear. The police have surrounded the scene and are investigating. 120 also arrived at the scene in time. We will continue to broadcast this report, so please stay tuned. When Song Yisher heard this, she was extremely excited. If the accident was so serious, then Hua Xiqian would be dead for sure. Song Yisher pretended to call Hua Xiqian. Sorry, the subscriber you have dialed is temporarily unavailable. Please try again later. Since the call couldn't go through, she was even more certain that something happened to Hua Xiqian. Song Yisher was so happy that she wanted to pop open a bottle of champagne to celebrate. She could do things that Qin Chu and Hua Min couldn't. If they didn't want to kill someone, she dared. Actually, Song Yisher and Hua Xiqian were the same. Sometimes they wouldn't care about sacrificing anything in order to achieve their goals. In order to complete her act, Song Yisher even drove to the headquarters of the Hua Corporation. At that time he was surrounded by the media as soon as he got out of the car. Mrs. Hua, how are you feeling right now? I'm very sad. I only hope that my husband is safe. Otherwise, how can I live on? Song Yisher said as she wiped her tears with a tissue. Her acting was so real that everyone was touched by her performance. Mrs. Hua, don't be sad. We are sad. President Hua will be fine. I also hope that he will be fine. He will be fine. Song Yisher continued to act. Headquarters of Imperial Star Su Yu smiled when he saw the live broadcast. Shaoan, President Su, tell all the employees to stay after work tonight. I've arranged a party for everyone. What day is it today? President Su? Shaoan was also confused. It's a good day. Go. Su Yu smiled. Wasn't it good that someone like Hua Xiqian got into a car accident? So you thought that this was fate. He deserved to end up like this. He didn't have to do it himself. That damn psycho. Hua Min slept at home. When she woke up, her phone exploded with all kinds of messages. She opened it and saw that most of them were related to Hua Xiqian. Mian, did you see the news? Is Hua Xiqian really dead? Everyone is saying that he's dead because they haven't found him yet. I wonder if his body was destroyed. What a tragedy. Zhu Lingling asked excitedly. Chapter 1469. I did. That's great. Should we celebrate tonight? Zhu Lingling and the others hated Hua Xiqian to the core. They were overjoyed to hear the news. I don't think things are that simple. What do you mean? You don't believe me? It's not that I don't believe you, I just don't think something like this would happen to someone as cautious as him. Didn't you say that we don't even know if he's in the car? The media is exaggerating. It could be a smokescreen. Hua Min was relatively calm. She had a feeling that Hua Xiqian wouldn't die so easily. He was so good at scheming, how could he die so easily? It didn't make sense. If he could die from an accident like this, then wouldn't he have died thousands of times? He had too many enemies, you're right. But who cares, I'm happy to hear the news. Do you want to have dinner together? No, my father-in-law's condition hasn't been stable lately. Qin Chu and I are at the company during the day and the hospital at night. Damn it, wouldn't you be exhausted? Even if you were made of iron, you wouldn't be able to do it. It's okay, he's our family. It doesn't matter if we're tired or not. The most important thing is that he gets better. Last night, Qin Yuman's words made Huamin, who had always been calm and collected, burst into tears. Although she kept reassuring herself that her father-in-law would be fine in her heart. But she knew that she was just lying to herself. How could a surgery that even Qin Chu wasn't sure about succeed? It would be very difficult, right? Even if it succeeded, would it? Who could guarantee that the cancer cells wouldn't spread? She took a deep breath. Huamin listlessly changed and went downstairs. Soon Wan hadn't come to the north in March yet, and the cold wind was still blowing. Huamian put on a black cotton-padded jacket and drove straight to the company. GK headquarters, Qin Chu assigned a lot of work to do in the morning. Now that GK was back to normal, Hua Xiqian's tricks were no longer effective. Since this morning, more than a dozen real estate developers had already restored the original price amidst a wave of criticism. Because they couldn't afford it. If it weren't for the fact that Hua Xiqian had threatened them, they wouldn't have done something that would harm others without benefiting themselves. Seeing that they had all returned to their original prices, the market returned to normal, and GK also announced that they would return to their original prices. A real estate battle ended just like that. Qin Chu calculated that there were still a few more days before he could return the money to the Rick family. Fortunately, there was no danger this time. Tens of billions of yuan instantly shrank and bounced back in an instant. That excitement wasn't just about uncles and aunts. At noon, everyone was talking about Hua Xiqian's car accident. Yang couldn't help but gossip. Boss, don't you think this is called retribution? Retribution sure comes fast. That bastard Hua Xiqian should be knocked to death. Who said he's dead? Qin Chu asked calmly. Didn't the media say? The media only reported on the car accident. They didn't say if he was in the car or if he was dead or seriously injured. So, let's not spread rumors. You don't believe me. For someone like Hua Xiqian, I'll only believe that he's dead when I see his corpse. Yes, Qin Chu and Huamin both didn't believe that Hua Xiqian would die so easily. However, Qin Chu thought back to the car accident and realized that it was indeed set up. It couldn't have been so coincidental that 3 cars simultaneously attacked Hua Xiqian at the same time. In the morning, Song Yisher came to him and told him about her terrifying idea, and at noon something happened. Was this really a coincidence, or did Song Yisher do something? Qin Chu kept thinking about these things. Honey, Huamin pushed open the door and walked in with his bag. Chapter 1470. Have you eaten yet? Honey. No, let's go eat ramen, okay? Okay, Qin Chu nodded and said. Then he drove Huamin to Oxian's ramen. Honey, do you believe that Hua Xiqian is dead? What about you? Qin Chu took a bite of his ramen and asked. I don't believe it. I think he might have set this up himself. Maybe he's up to no good again. Yeah, I don't believe it either. A person like him wouldn't die from a car accident. But I have a feeling that Hua Xiqian might be plotting something else. Yes, Qin Chu wasn't a person who relied on his feelings. But lately his heart had been beating really fast. He was even panicking. He felt like something bad was going to happen. In less than a week he and Huamin's wedding would be held. He really hoped that everything would go smoothly. The media had been reporting on Hua Xiqian's incident. However, no one had seen Hua Xiqian in person. Even the hospital was surrounded by reporters. But there were no clues. It was as if he had disappeared from the face of the earth. That night Song Yisher drove back to Hua Xiqian's private mansion. She wanted to take the last of her personal belongings with her. Then she would find an opportunity to file for divorce. She had had enough of living in fear. When she arrived home, the entire mansion was pitch black, which meant that no one was home. Only she and Hua Xiqian had the keys. They didn't even hire a housekeeper. The two of them didn't even live here. It was just a formality when they got married. Just as she finished packing and was about to head downstairs from the second floor to the first floor, she suddenly stopped in her tracks, because she saw someone standing at the top of the stairs on the first floor. She wasn't that scared at first, but while she was in a daze, that person flicked the lighter in his hand and the light instantly illuminated his face. Song Yisher was scared out of her wits. Oh! She screamed, turned around and ran upstairs. Hua Xiqian chased after her and grabbed Song Yisher's hair. He forcefully dragged her a few steps back. Bitch, what are you afraid of? Did you think you saw a ghost? Why are you here? Song Yisher's voice was filled with fear. What? You think I'm dead? No. No, but the media said that you died in a car accident. Song Yisher had lost the ability to think because everything had happened too suddenly. She really thought that Hua Xiqian was dead. Therefore he did not have the sense of crisis like Qin Chu and Hua Min. You wish for me to die. What a pity. I haven't lived long enough. How can I bear to die? After that Hua Xiqian grabbed Song Yisher's hair and dragged her downstairs. Her entire body was covered in bruises. He did not go easy on her at all. He did not show her any mercy even though she begged. Please let go of me. It really hurts. When Hua Xiqian reached downstairs he grabbed both of her hands with one hand and pulled out his belt with the other. He tied her hands together. What are you doing? What am I doing? Don't you know? Do you think I don't know your little tricks? Hua Xiqian's voice was cold. What tricks? I don't know what you're talking about. Song Yisher tried her best to cover it up. Very well, you're playing dumb with me. Let me remind you, do you know why you haven't received any replies from those people? Song Yisher widened her eyes and did not say anything. She only looked at Hua Xiqian's beast-like eyes in fear. Because they're dead. Do you want to see them? What do you want? I'm warning you, if you kill me my dad won't let you go. Song Yisher knew that Hua Xiqian already knew about her plan. Would he want to kill her? Chapter 1471. At this moment she was really scared. She had never felt so close to death. She knew that Hua Xiqian was capable of doing anything. Hua Xiqian chuckled softly. His chuckle sent chills down her spine. What are you laughing at? I'm laughing at you. You're so stupid. Do you think I'm trying to kill you? You're wrong, killing is illegal. Plus it won't be fun if you're dead. Then Hua Xiqian took out the yellow tape that he always carried with him and wrapped it around Song Yisher's feet. He wrapped it around and around, leaving a gap in the middle. Hua Xiqian, you're a bastard, you're a psycho. Go ahead, I like it. I'm a psycho anyway. Help, someone help. Song Yisher screamed at the top of her lungs. My dear Shersher, you seem to have forgotten that our house is soundproof. Even if you scream yourself hoarse, no one outside will be able to hear you. Song Yisher's heart sank when she heard what he said. Tears fell from her eyes. Hua Xiqian, I'm begging you, I won't do it again. Please let me go. If I let you go, who will let me go? Hua Xiqian said as he reached out and gently caressed Song Yisher's beautiful face. You really want me to die, don't you? Song Yisher cried and shook her head desperately. Baby, you're lying again. I really don't like it when you're like this. Then Hua Xiqian took out a palm-sized wallpaper cutter from his tools. Song Yisher felt like all the blood in her body had frozen. Hua Xiqian, what are you doing? I'm going to scratch your face first. How about that? Hua Xiqian waved the wallpaper cutter in front of her. Song Yisher was so scared that all the blood drained from her face. Please don't. I know I'm wrong. Song Yisher was so scared that she couldn't stop crying. You really overestimate yourself. Do you think you're good looking? You seem to care a lot about your face. I feel disgusted when I see your face. I think Qin Chu is the same as me. Song Yisher could only cry and shake her head. Do you know why Qin Chu doesn't like you, why Suyu doesn't like you, and why I don't like you? Song Yisher didn't respond. Hua Xiqian placed the paper knife against Song Yisher's face and slid it all the way down. Because you're cheap. Do you know why they all like Hua Min? Because she's not cheap. Song Yisher trembled as she replied. Hot, of course not. Qin Chu likes Hua Min because he's used to it. It's like he's used to something and can't bear to change it. Suyu likes Hua Min because he can't get her, so he wants her even more. I'm the only one who truly likes Hua Min. I like her no matter what she does, whether it's her smile, her anger, her rage, or even the way she sleeps. That's why they don't deserve her. In this world, I'm the only one who truly loves Hua Min. I don't ask for anything in return and I don't have any ulterior motives. Hua Xiqian, are you crazy? Qin Chu loves Hua Min so much. How can you say that he doesn't love her? Song Yisher couldn't agree with this point of view. She had been jealous of Hua Min many times in the past. It was because Hua Min was loved by Qin Chu. If Qin Chu didn't love Hua Min, then it would be the biggest joke in the world. What do you know? Qin Chu loves Hua Min selfishly. He married her because she's a genius. It's been like this since high school. Qin Chu is too scheming. He schemed to get Hua Min so that he can use her to help his career. They're both selfish. I won't let them get away with it. So you'll ruin their wedding? Song Yisher asked. No, I won't ruin their wedding because They won't even have a chance to hold their wedding. Within 3 days I'll divorce them. Hua Xiqian smiled proudly. After I deal with Qin Chu, I'll let Hua Mian go back to the Hua family, Hua Xiqian added. Song Yisher looked at Hua Xiqian and suddenly felt like she was looking at a serious mental patient. It was too scary. It's possible that they can't hold their wedding, but it's impossible for them to get a divorce, Song Yisher vowed. She felt like it was almost impossible for Qin Chu and Hua Mian to get a divorce. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.